Chapter 1 Reborn in 2002. Dear viewers, the finals of the 17th World Cup in 2002 have concluded. The Samba Nation defeated the Germanic Nation 2-0, winning this year's World Cup championship. Watching the television, Chu Yang's face revealed an expression of incomparable excitement. Everything was following its original trajectory without the slightest deviation. This time I'm really going to strike it rich. As it turns out, Chu Yang was a reincarnator. He had been reborn back to 2002, just 1 month earlier. Since he'd been reborn, of course, he wanted to accumulate wealth quickly. The only way was to bet on the World Cup lottery. He mortgaged his house and obtained a loan of 500,000 yuan. Then he used the entire sum to place World Cup bets. As someone who'd lived through this before, he remembered every single match score from this World Cup tournament. Just like that, after the World Cup ended, he truly struck it rich. Right at that moment, his phone suddenly dinged with a text message alert. Your savings card, ending in 4302, has received a lottery payout of 3 million yuan. Current balance, 3,500,000 yuan, China Construction Bank. Seeing the notification on his phone, Chu Yang's face broke into an utterly radiant smile. Through sports betting, he had turned 500,000 into 3 million in just 1 month. This is even faster than robbing a bank. Such is the advantage of a reincarnator. Not only that, after his rebirth, he discovered he had also gained psychic abilities. His eyes could actually see through the trends of stocks and futures. This was simply the ultimate money-making weapon. In his previous life, after all, he was just an ordinary person. How could he have known the movements of stocks and futures? He wasn't like the protagonists in other reincarnation novels who remembered every stock's rise and fall immediately after rebirth. He didn't have such a perfect memory, but now, with these divine eyes, he could dominate the financial markets effortlessly. Forget Buffett, forget Soros, all of them would be trampled beneath his feet. Chu Yang began to grow smug. Right at that moment, his phone suddenly rang. The year 2002 marked the early days of mobile phone popularity, with Nokia and Motorola being everyone's top choices. Nokia in particular was practically in everyone's hands. Chu Yang looked at the Nokia phone in his grasp and sighed inwardly. No one could have anticipated that even a powerhouse like Nokia would be rendered obsolete by the times just over a decade later. He picked up the phone, and upon seeing the name displayed, his expression immediately darkened. The name displayed on the phone was Li Xiaoqin. This Li Xiaoqin was an extremely materialistic woman, and worse yet, a brother-obsessed enabler. 前世的时候，李小琴一家人趴在他的身上吸血，他的弟弟每天吃喝嫖赌，欠下了高利贷之后，李小琴便逼着楚阳去还债。楚阳前世过得穷困潦倒，都拜这个女人所赐。现在重生之后，过往种种一一浮现在了楚阳的脑海之中，心中的怒气已经到达了顶点。他强忍着怒气接通了电话。喂 Chu Yang, why did it take you so long to answer my call? Li Xiaoqin's displeased voice came through the phone. 有事吗？楚阳淡淡地问道。楚阳，你是猪脑子吗？怎么不记事的？今天你要跟我们家商量婚事的，我爸妈已经在酒店等你呢。李小琴语气不善地问道。没空，楚阳直接说道。这一天，他永远不会忘记。李小琴的爸妈带了30多个亲戚到前世最贵的酒店订了好几桌，还美其名曰说是让所有的亲戚都把关。这一顿饭吃掉了楚阳1万多块钱。在2002年，1万块钱可是一笔不小的数目，而且最过分的是，李小琴的母亲还提了许多过分的要求。当时的楚阳被逼无奈，全部答应了下来，从此也开始了自己悲惨的人生。这一世，我绝对不会再重蹈覆辙。Chu Yang swore silently in his heart. On the other end of the phone, Li Xiaoqin was equally shocked by his words. 平日里的楚阳一向是对他言听计从的，完完全全就是一个窝囊废。没想到今天竟然会说出这样大逆不道的话来，这也让他愣足足10秒钟。楚阳， 你是找死吗？敢这样跟我说话？李小琴尖声骂道。What's wrong with talking to you like this? I said it. What can you do about it? 楚阳说完，直接挂断了电话。他可以想象得到李小琴在电话那头的暴跳如雷的画面，心中就无比暗爽。反正这个女人，全家都不是好人，母亲势利又刻薄，弟弟无能又好赌，所以他一定要及时将这个女人甩掉。He sat down and began planning his grand money-making scheme, pulling out a notebook and starting to write. 打算将赚钱计划全部记下来。我现在有天眼，可以去捡漏古董和赌石，然后就是炒股。楚阳在本子上一笔一画地写着，很快便将本子写得满满当当的。就在这时，一阵疯狂的敲门声传了过来。楚阳，给我开门！外面传来了李小琴的声音。楚阳闻言，脸色不由得一冷，他将本子收了起来，站起来，打开了门。只见李小琴正满脸愤怒地站在门外。楚阳一开门，李小琴便大声吼了起来：“楚阳，你这个窝囊废，竟然敢挂我的电话！你不想活了？挂了就挂了，你能怎么样？”楚阳毫不在意地说道。李小琴的顿时气得浑身发抖，她没有想到平日里一棍子都打不出一个屁来的楚阳，今天竟然支棱起来了。楚阳，你赶紧给我道歉，否则别想我嫁给你。李小琴立刻说道，这是她的杀手锏，平日里只要她一提分手，楚阳立刻就会像条哈巴狗似的哄她。只可惜，现在楚阳已经不是昔日的楚阳了。太好了，我也正准备不结婚呢。楚阳冷笑了一声说道。你说什么？你再说一遍。李小琴瞪大了眼睛，无比震惊地问道。我说，我不想跟你结婚，你可以滚了。楚阳一字一句地说道。说完，他砰的一声将门给关上了。李小琴气得暴跳如雷，拼命地拍着门。楚阳，你给我滚出来说清楚，你凭什么不想结婚？她真的是气到了，我可是小仙女，不结婚这3个字只能从我嘴巴里说出。A foul man has no right to say these 3 words. However, no matter how hard she knocked, Chu Yang ignored her completely. Infuriated, she yelled, Chu Yang, you're worthless. I'm going to get my mom. With that, she stormed off angrily. Chapter 2, I won't give you a single cent. Chapter 2, I won't give you a single cent. Chu Yang stopped thinking about Li Xiaoqin. Such a woman isn't worth a single moment of his lingering affection. The heavens granted him a second chance at life and bestowed upon him such a formidable golden finger. If he couldn't reach the pinnacle of this world, it would truly be an insult to the gifts bestowed by the heavens. Sitting at the table, he retrieved his notebook and resumed recording his money-making plans. 3 million in assets is still too little. I should head to the antique market first to uncover some hidden treasures. Once I've acquired tens of millions in assets, I'll go stir up storms in the futures market to rapidly complete my capital accumulation. The next 20 years will belong to real estate and the internet. Standing at these 2 pivotal moments, even a pig could take flight. Chu Yang slowly wrote, the words futures, stocks, real estate, internet appearing on the page. For him, these were all golden egg-laying geese. As long as he could grasp them, he could soar to great heights in an instant. A complete reversal of fate. Just then, a violent knocking sound came through the door. Chu Yang couldn't help but frown. Could it be Li Xiaoqin coming back again? He didn't want to acknowledge whoever was outside, but the person at the door knocked even more fiercely. They'd even started kicking the door now. This was beginning to seriously irritate Chu Yang, and it might even disturb the neighbors. Helplessly, he had no choice but to open the door. Outside stood Li Xiaoqin along with 2 other people. They were none other than Li Xiaoqin's mother, Wang Guimei, and her younger brother, Li Xiaoping. Chu Yang, you ungrateful bastard. Back then, you were the one desperately begging to date my daughter, and I reluctantly gave you a chance. Now you dare to abandon her? You're worse than a pig or a dog. 王桂梅一看到楚阳，便破口大骂了起来：“就是楚阳，你这个窝囊废！当初我姐愿意跟你在一起，我可是说了很多好话的。你现在竟然对我姐始乱终弃，你简直不是人！”李小鹏一脸痞气地骂道：“说完了吗？说完了可以滚了。” Chu Yang had no desire to waste more words on this shameless family. You, Chu Yang, I'm giving you one last chance. Apologize to me and go pay the hotel bill, and I'll still agree to marry you. Li Xiaoqin stood with her hands on her hips, looking down her nose haughtily as she declared, "Getting married is fine, but first give me a dowry of 300,000 and buy a flat for my son." 王桂梅立刻说道：“我结婚，为什么还要给他买房？”楚阳气笑了，在前世就是这样，他真的给李小鹏首付了一套房，到后来装修按揭的贷款竟然都是他还的。最要命的是，李小鹏后来结婚的彩礼钱都是他掏的，这也是他结婚后穷困潦倒的根本原因。想到这，楚阳都恨不得扇自己几个大耳瓜子，痛恨当时的自己为什么那么软弱，那么窝囊。现在他已经重生了，当然不可能再回头重走老路。楚阳，我就这么一个弟弟，你帮忙不是应该的吗？李小琴大声质问道。滚，那是你弟弟，又不是我弟弟。楚阳冷冷地说道。我跟你这么多年，你现在开始分你我，你的良心都被狗吃了。李小琴脸色一变，破口大骂道：“你还好意思说，这些年我赚了钱，你就拿给你爸妈去。去年我妈生病，我给了她300块钱，你非要哭闹着要我把钱要回来。这些年你吃的用的，哪一样不是我花钱？你成天不上班，只知道乱花钱，到底是谁的良心被狗吃了？”楚阳冷着脸大声地吼道：“我是女人，你就应该养我，要不然我嫁给你干什么？像你这样的穷鬼，我愿意嫁给你，就算是烧高香了。”李小琴叉着腰，用鼻孔对着楚阳说道：“那老子现在不伺候了，老子的钱1分都不会给你们。现在给我滚，滚得远远的！”楚阳砰的一声把门给关上了，让李小琴一家人吃了一个闭门羹。这个楚阳平时那么窝囊，今天也不知道吃错了什么药了。王桂梅脸色无比难看地说道：“妈，现在怎么办啊？我好不容易找到了一张长期饭票，没想到现在没有了。”李小琴满脸不甘地说道：“对呀，我本来还指着他给我买房子呢，没有房子我就找不到媳妇了，而且我现在还欠着10万块钱的赌债呢，现在该怎么办啊？”李小鹏的脸色也是变得十分难看，岂有此理！我也没有想到楚阳这个窝囊废竟然还支棱起来了，不能就这么放过他，继续敲门把他叫出来。王桂梅无比不甘地说道。谁料屋里的楚阳一直在偷听他们讲话，在听到王桂梅的话后，他立刻隔着门喊道：“你们要是再骚扰我，我就报警，赶紧给我滚！”李小琴3人再怎么蛮横，在听到楚阳说要报警后， they naturally felt terrified and hastily scurried away from the place. Chu Yang, seeing this, secretly let out a sigh of relief. At that moment, his phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. After answering the call, on the other end of the line came a voice. "May I speak with Mr. Chu Yang? I'm Li Chunjiang, president of the Tian'an branch of China Construction Bank. Given that your deposits with our bank have exceeded 3 million yuan, you've now become one of our valued clients. Our bank will provide you with the most favorable interest rates and premium services. May I inquire about your home address? Tomorrow, I'll arrange for a car to pick you up and bring you to the bank for a meeting." Hearing this, a faint smile appeared on Chu Yang's face. In the year 2002, 人均月工资不足3000元的时代，一个人有300万的存款，的确可以成为银行的优质客户。哪怕是 再过20年，你要是能在银行有300万的存款，也照样能享受到银行的各种优惠政策。所以，银行的这个电话是他意料之中的事情。正好，他明天还想通过银行开设期货和股票账户呢。于是，他将地址告诉了李春江。李春江表示，明天一定会亲自上门接他。到了第二天上午9点整，李春江准时来到了楚阳家楼下，将楚阳接上了车。他看到楚阳的第一时间便震惊于对方的年轻。楚先生，没想到您这么有钱，还这么低调，居然住在这么简陋的房子里。李春江满脸感慨地说道。李行长说笑了。楚阳淡淡地说道。在去银行的路上，二人一路闲聊。李春江无比震惊地发现，眼前的年轻人见识超绝，有很多天马行空、令人拍案叫绝的想法。怪不得年纪轻轻就能积累到这么多的资产，而且有钱之后竟然没有丝毫骄纵的情绪，真的是少年老成啊！汽车很快到达了建设银行，李春江无比恭敬地将楚阳请进了办公室。第3章，你什么级别？跟我参加一样的拍卖会。第3章，你什么级别？跟我参加一样的拍卖会。走进李春江的办公室后，李春江亲手给楚阳泡好了一杯茶。这时，李春江的助理走了进来，正好看到李春江给楚阳泡茶的画面，脸上露出了震惊的表情。李春江可是天南建设分行的行长，地位可以说相当之高，但是现在却在无比殷勤的给这个年轻人泡茶，这简直是一件十分不可思议的事情。楚阳也是有些感慨，他在前世就是一个苦逼的打工人，根本就没有机会能接触到像李春江这种层次的人，没想到重生之后还能享受让李春江这样的人亲手给自己泡茶的待遇。果然，在这个世界上，只要有钱，就代表你拥有了一切。如果不是他有350万的存款，是根本不可能享受得到这样的待遇的。楚先生，这是上好的雨前龙井，尝尝看。李春江满脸笑容地说道。楚阳端起茶杯喝了一口，其实他对茶没有什么研究，所以也只能故作高深地说道：好茶。楚先生，我们谈正事吧。鉴于您现在是我们银行的优质客户，我们决定给予您年利率5%的利息，并且每年逢年过节和您的生日之时，我们都会给您送上礼品。李春江缓缓地说道。I'm not one who enjoys complications. Since Bank Manager Lee is showing such sincerity, I'll deposit my funds with your institution. Chu Yang said casually. Splendid. Rest assured, Mr. Chu, this is absolutely your best possible choice. The smile on Li Chuanjiang's face grew increasingly pronounced. By the way, President Lee, I was hoping to open international futures and domestic stock trading accounts at your bank. Would that be possible? Chu Yang inquired slowly. Of course you can. We already offer such services, and there's no need for you to handle this personally. My assistant can go to the securities firm to take care of it. Li Chunjiang agreed without hesitation. Then I'll trouble you, President Lee. After opening the account, please take me to the securities exchange. Chu Yang nodded and said, ever since his rebirth, he hadn't yet used his clairvoyance ability to make money, because at that time there wasn't any capital to start with. Now that there's capital, it's time to put to good use. Asking for help is no trouble at all. By the way, Mr. Chu, there's an antique auction at the Grand Emperor Hotel in an hour. Would you be interested in attending? Li Chunjiang asked with a smile. Antique auction? Chu Yang's eyes instantly lit up. He'd been planning a hunt for hidden treasures, and here was the perfect opportunity. Who knows? He might actually stumble upon a priceless find and make another fortune. This way, I would have more capital to invest in the stock market. All right, let's go take a look. Chu Yang nodded and said. And so it was. Chu Yang rode in Li Chunjiang's car and arrived at the Imperial Grand Hotel. The auction was being held on the top floor of the Imperial Grand Hotel. Li Chunjiang and Chu Yang entered. Many people were already gathered here. Li Chunjiang went ahead to greet his friends, leaving Chu Yang to look around by himself. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Li Xiaoqin walked in arm with a pot-bellied middle-aged man. Behind them followed Wang Guimei and Li Xiaoping. This place is truly magnificent. Li Xiaoping's face was filled with an utterly shocked expression. Yes, look how exquisitely prepared all the food here is. Wang Guimei behaved exactly like Granny Lu visiting the Grand View Garden, constantly looking around in every direction. This is what truly upper-class living looks like. Li Xiaoqin's eyes were sparkling with stars. This was the life she had always dreamed of. If she really married Chu Yang, she might never have lived such a life. Almost all the most influential figures in Tianan City attended today's auction. The pot-bellied middle-aged man spoke slowly. Dongheng, it's all thanks to you. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to enter this circle. Wang Guimei's wrinkled face blossomed like a chrysanthemum when she smiled. Look over there, isn't that Chu Yang? Li Xiaoping suddenly exclaimed loudly. Xiaoping, are you seeing things? How could that penniless loser, Chu Yang, possibly come here? Li Xiaoqin simply refused to believe it. She subconsciously followed Li Xiaoping's pointing finger and indeed saw Chu Yang standing right there. Chu Yang was dressed plainly, completely out of place among the glossy, well-dressed crowd around him. Who is that guy? A pot-bellied middle-aged man asked in confusion. That's my poor, pathetic ex-boyfriend, Li Xiaoqin said with an unpleasant expression. So this is how it is. Since we know each other, let's go over and chat. A hint of mockery appeared on the round-bellied middle-aged man's face. Chu Yang was standing there idly, waiting for the auction to begin. He didn't recognize a single person here. Some of them he'd only ever seen on TV in his previous life. He'd even read about the eventual fates of some of these people in online news reports. 20 years later, some would still be thriving spectacularly. Some people, 20 years later, have gone bankrupt and become ordinary citizens again. The paths of fate are always uncertain. However, he had no intention of cozying up to these people, because he knew that with his current capabilities, he still couldn't earn the respect of this crowd. When he truly becomes wealthy in the future, these people will naturally flock to befriend him. Chu Yang, what are you doing here? At that moment, a brusque voice interrupted. Chu Yang looked up and saw. It was actually Li Xiaoqin and her entire family. What does my being here have to do with you? He asked coldly. This is a place only for successful people. Do trash like you even have a right to come in? Li Xiaoping asked with undisguised contempt. You're not working here as a security guard, are you? Li Xiaoqin asked with an expression of utter disdain. I'm here to attend the auction. Chu Yang replied calmly. This sentence immediately made Li Xiaoqin's whole family burst into laughter. Attending an auction? Your monthly salary probably can't even afford a broken piece of antique. Li Xiaoqin said sarcastically. Whether I can afford it or not is none of your business. Chu Yang said expressionlessly. What do you mean it's none of your business? What level is a poor wretch like you at? How could you possibly qualify to attend the same auction as me? Li Xiaoqin said loudly. Her voice was so loud that it naturally drew the attention of those nearby. So they started pointing fingers at Chu Yang. Li Xiaoqin, shouting and making a scene here like some unruly shrew. You look really ugly behaving like this. Chu Yang said coolly. You have a nerve to criticize me? After all these years together, you never even bought me a purse. Look at Brother Heng. On our very first day together, he gave me this bag. It costs 10,000 yuan, more than you could ever afford in your lifetime. Li Xiaoqin waved her purse triumphantly, looking extremely pleased with herself. You actually feel proud of things gained through being a side chick? Chu Yang asked with undisguised disdain. Kid, did you forget to brush your teeth this morning? Your mouth stinks so badly. The pot-bellied middle-aged man on the side finally spoke up. Chapter 4, Lin Dongheng. Chapter 4, Lin Dongheng. This pot-bellied middle-aged man was actually someone Chu Yang recognized. His name was Lin Dongheng, a rather well-known entrepreneur within Tianjin City. He has substantial financial resources and is frequently seen in newspapers and on television. This man's path to wealth is quite legendary. It all started by riding the wave of the Millennium Bull Market, entering the stock market with just 100,000 yuan in cash. Incredibly, he managed to turn it into 3 million yuan. He then started an investment business that ran as smoothly as if he had cheats enabled. He went on to amass a fortune of over 50 million. Although over 50 million wasn't considered top-tier wealth in 2002, it still qualified as substantial riches. Yet Chu Yang remembered all too clearly. 1 year later, Lin Dongheng would suddenly drop dead. His wife, 20 years his junior, would end up in court with his son fighting over his inheritance. Chu Yang wouldn't show any courtesy to a dying man. Lin Dongheng, you have no right to lecture me, Chu Yang said lightly. The onlookers gasped sharply at his words. They never expected this young man would dare challenge Lin Dongheng. His audacity was truly staggering. Lin Dongheng was someone who wouldn't let the slightest grievance go unanswered. Those who offended him usually ended up suffering terribly. Young man, you've got quite the nerve. Lin Dongheng froze momentarily before letting out a cold chuckle. Old man, don't get so worked up. You might drop dead from rage, Chu Yang hinted. Unfortunately, Lin Dongheng was completely oblivious to the implication. His face flushed with fury as he roared, "Security, where the hell are you?" Soon, the security chief hurried over. "President Lin, may I ask what's the matter?" Lin Dongheng pointed at Chu Yang and demanded, "What exactly do you people think you're doing? How dare you let random nobodies in here? Get him out immediately." "President Lin, our deepest apologies. This was an oversight on our part." The security captain immediately said to Chu Yang, "Sir, please leave this place." "Chu Yang, get out of here already. A lowly person like you doesn't belong in a place like this." Li Xiaoqin sneered. "That's right, just a useless loser. You only deserve to stay at the very bottom of society." Li Xiaoping also mocked. "Is this how you treat your guests?" Chu Yang asked with a furrowed brow. "You're just a damn pauper. What kind of guest do you think you are? Pathetic. Don't let him scare you off. He's just some broke bastard earning barely over 1,000 a month. Hurry up and kick him out. His presence is polluting the air in here." Li Xiaoqin shrieked sharply. "Young man, having a sharp tongue is useless. In this world, what matters real strength?" Lin Dongheng said with an icy smirk. From his expression, it seemed as if he already had Chu Yang completely under his control. "Sir, please cooperate, or we'll have to get rough with you." Upon hearing this, the security captain's attitude immediately hardened. The guards behind him were already preparing to step forward, intending to forcefully drag Chu Yang out. "Everyone, hold your ground." At that moment, a voice came through. 只见李春江快速地跑了过来，拦在了楚阳的身前。岂有此理！你们在干什么？这是我带来的客人，谁让你们这么干的？李春江愤怒地瞪着这些保安问道：“这不是建设银行的行长李春江吗？原来这个年轻人是李春江带来的，也不知道他到底是什么身份，会不会是李春江的子侄之类的人？”所有人都在猜测楚阳的身份。李春江，他是你的朋友？林东恒淡淡地问道。以他的身份，当然不会怕李春江。不过，作为生意人，难免要跟银行打交道，所以他对李春江还是比较客气的。林总、楚总是我的朋友，也是我行的优质客户。李春江缓缓地说道。这句话说的众人不由得一惊。A premium client. That means this young man must have at least 1 million in deposits at the bank. What exactly is the background of this young man? So young yet already has so much in savings. However, Li Xiaoqin's family didn't understand what a premier client meant. 却以为李春江是为了维护楚阳才故意这么说的。就连林东恒也有些吃惊地看着楚阳。天南市啥时候出现了一个这么有钱的年轻人了？你会不会搞错了？他就是一个穷光蛋罢了。 怎么可能是什么优质客户？李小琴满脸震惊地问道。岂有此理！你竟敢质疑我李春江？李春江脸色一沉，不悦地说道。李行长，不要生气，我朋友只是无心之言，既然你出面了，那我就放过这小子一马。林东恒淡淡地说道。Finished speaking. Ignoring Chu Yang completely, he led Li Xiaoqin's family to their seats and sat down. Is he really a penniless wretch? Lin Dongheng looked at Li Xiaoqin and asked. That's right, he's been with my sister for 3 years, and the most expensive place they've ever been to is a Shaxian Xiaochi, a cheap local fast food chain. This guy's not only poor, but also stingy. Li Xiaoping immediately replied. Then why would Li Chunjiang call him a premium client? Lin Dongheng was utterly perplexed. Definitely just bragging to cover for him on purpose. Li Xiaoqin let out a cold laugh as she spoke. Makes sense. After the auction ends, I'll find a way to deal with that loser. A cold smirk appeared on Lin Dongheng's face. You damn bastards. Why aren't you leaving yet? At this moment, Li Chunjiang barked at the security guards. The guards didn't dare linger another moment and hastily made their exit. Mr. Chu, I'm sorry. I didn't expect something like this to happen. Li Chunjiang said with a face full of guilt. 无妨，我没有想到会遇到狗。楚阳摆了摆手说道。楚先生真幽默。李春江哈哈大笑道。他没有去问楚阳和林东恒有什么恩怨，毕竟他和楚阳还没有熟悉到这个地步。拍卖会快开始了，我们赶紧坐下吧。李春江带着楚阳找了位置坐了下来，只是没有想到，他的位置距离林东恒十分近，中间只隔了一个走廊。真晦气！李小琴满脸嫌弃地说道。是啊，这么高端的拍卖会，出现了一根搅屎棍。李小鹏冷哼了一声说道。我是搅屎棍，那你是在骂大厅内所有人都是屎了？楚阳淡淡地问道。在场的人都是有头有脸的人物，在听到这句话后，顿时对李小鹏怒目而视。你，李小鹏的脸顿时变成了猪肝色。他没有想到，平日里半天都憋不出一个屁来的楚阳，竟然变得这么牙尖嘴利了。行了，闭嘴，别给我丢脸了。林东恒也有些不高兴地喝道。李小鹏只好闭上嘴，不敢再说话，只是用无比厌毒的眼神瞪着楚阳。Chu Yang couldn't be bothered to pay this person any attention. After a while, the auction finally began. Chapter 5 The Antique Auction. Chapter 5 The Antique Auction begins. The auction commenced. A middle-aged man in his 50s, dressed in a traditional Chinese tang suit, stepped onto the stage. It's Qin Mo, the owner of Treasure Pavilion. Never thought it would be him hosting the auction. Qin Mo is considered quite a formidable figure in the national antique circles. Indeed, 10 years ago, he purchased a ceramic piece for 300,000 yuan. Many thought he made a bad investment, but who would have guessed it turned out to be a Tang Dynasty tricolor glazed ceramic? He resold it for 6 million. Hearing the chatter among the crowd, Chu Yang grew quite intrigued by the old man on stage. With my newfound clairvoyant ability, it was inevitable that I'd have dealings with the antique world. Building a good relationship with Qin Mo would certainly work to my advantage. Greetings everyone, I'm Qin Mo. Today's auction features 2 items. Highest bidder takes them. Without further ado, let's begin today's auction. Please present our first item. Shortly thereafter, a female attendant approached carrying a tray. The tray was covered with a red cloth. The red cloth was raised high, and judging by the outline, it appeared to be a ceramic piece. Qin Mo lifted the cloth, revealing indeed a ceramic object. The ceramic was gold in color, intricately carved with exquisitely beautiful patterns. At first glance, it was clear this was no ordinary piece. Chu Yang examined the ceramic vessel, and soon a line of text appeared before his eyes. Qing Dynasty Imperial Kiln Porcelain, genuine article, valued between 800,000 to 2 million. However, inside the ceramic lies a Han Dynasty imperial seal worth 30 to 40 million. Seeing this description, a fleeting expression of astonishment crossed Chu Yang's face. He never imagined this ceramic piece held hidden mysteries. What a massive oversight this was. Not picking it up would be inviting divine punishment. The power of the heavens, I was truly formidable. With his heaven's eye, even the most renowned antique appraiser in the world would be no match for him. Qing Dynasty Imperial Kiln Porcelain, starting bid at 800,000, with each raise no less than 100,000. The auction begins now. Qin Mo announced loudly. Mr. Chu, would you be interested in making a bid? Li Chunjiang asked with a smile. It's good stuff, but let's see how things go, Chu Yang said slowly. Of course, he couldn't tell the truth. A pauper like you can afford such fine things? Li Xiaopeng 满脸嘲讽地问道。就是你就是坐在这里凑数的，充什么大尾巴了？王桂梅附和道。楚阳闻言不由得皱了皱眉头。他正要说话 Qin Mo on the stage spoke first. Maintained silence in the auction hall. If there's another disturbance, I'll have security escort you out. Qin Mo held an exceptionally high status, and his personal fortune was substantial by any measure. No matter how wealthy Lin Dongheng might be, he couldn't hold a candle to Qin Mo. Shut up, all of you. Don't embarrass me. Lin Dongheng turned his head and shouted. If he actually got kicked out by security, he'd become the laughingstock of the entire city by tomorrow. He was genuinely starting to regret bringing Li Xiaoqin and her family here. Never seen the world, yet talks too much. Utterly mortifying. Wang Guimei and Li Xiaopeng dared not speak further, forced to sit there awkwardly. Brother Dong, don't be angry. It's mainly that Chu Yang who's utterly despicable. Li Xiaoqin quickly stepped in to mediate. That damn brat, I'll deal with him sooner or later. Lin Dongheng snorted coldly as he spoke. Bro Dong, you're the best. I'll properly sing your praises tonight, Li Xiaoqin said with a shy and coquettish expression on her face. Upon hearing this, Lin Dongheng's heart surged with excitement. Great, I'll have to see it for myself then. As he spoke, he burst into hearty laughter. At the same time, he didn't forget to shoot a provocative glance at Chu Yang. However, Chu Yang's mind was now completely focused on the ceramic piece before him. This was something worth 30 million. After all, far more valuable than that old man Lin Dongheng could ever be. Can you even understand what you're looking at? Stop putting on airs here. Lin Dongheng snorted coldly and raised his bidding paddle. 900,000, but others were not to be outdone. 1 million, 1.1 million, 1.2 million. As time passed, the bid for this ceramic piece had already reached 2 million. After hitting 2 million, no one continued to raise their bids. Because everyone present knew that 2 million was already the highest price this ceramic piece could fetch. Bidding any higher would mean overpaying. Throughout this process, Chu Yang never placed a bid. He planned to swoop in and claim it at the last moment when no one else was bidding. This piece of porcelain must be acquired at any cost. Because it's worth it. 2 million. Does anyone bid higher? 秦墨大声问道。210万。这时有人举起了手中的牌子，所有人抬头看去，正是林东恒。林东恒无比得意地看着众人，觉得这件陶瓷已经彻底拿下了。此时的李小琴一家人早就已经陷入了呆滞的状态之中，这是他们第一次见识到一掷千金的场面到底是什么样子的。在这个年代，200多万可以买一栋豪华别墅了，而这些有钱人却用这么多钱拿买一件能看不能用的陶瓷。不得不说，有钱人的思维真是令人看不懂。恭喜东哥，应该没有人跟你争了。李小琴满脸讨好地说道。I'll buy whatever I like, no matter the cost, unlike some people who just sit there without saying a word. 林东恒瞟了一眼楚阳，嘲讽道：“还有没有人出价超过210万的？”秦墨大声地问道。2,200,000. At that very moment, a voice echoed throughout the venue. The entire crowd instantly erupted in astonished murmurs. 2,100,000 was already somewhat above market price. Who on earth is still willing to offer such a high price? Isn't this just a complete sucker's deal? Everyone looked up and saw Chu Yang raising his bidding paddle. Yo, do you even have that much money? Li Xiaoqin abruptly stood up and asked. She couldn't believe that a man who was so poor he could only afford to take her to street food stalls would suddenly become this wealthy. None of your business. Chu Yang replied indifferently. 臭小子，你可知道在拍卖到了东西却拿不出钱来的后果是什么吗？林东恒满脸冷笑地问道。林总，我能够作证，楚先生绝对能拿得出220万。李春江站起来说道。Chu Yang's account held a deposit of 3.5 million yuan. What puzzled him was why Chu Yang would lose money to buy this antique. This had already consumed nearly 2/3 of the other party's total assets. What, you? When did you get so much money? Li Xiaoqin's expression turned extremely unpleasant. It's none of your business whether I have money or not. Chu Yang asked indifferently. If you have money, then why won't you buy my brother a house? Li Xiaoqin shouted angrily. That's your brother, not mine. None of my damn business. Chu Yang snorted coldly and said, You bastard, you've wasted so many years of my youth, deceiving me all this time. Li Xiaoqin immediately started screaming relentlessly. You pathetic loser, who would have thought you'd be so cunning, she shrieked. You've been playing my daughter for so many years. You must give half of those 2 million to her, or we'll make you pay. Wang Guimei also spoke up, her eyes burning with fury. The auction hall fell into complete silence. Everyone looked at Li Xiaoqin's family with utterly mocking eyes, as if watching a circus performance. Only one sentence lingered in their minds. I've never seen someone so utterly shameless before. Chapter 6, The Han Dynasty Jade Seal. Chapter 6, The Han Dynasty Jade Seal, at this moment. The sound of hammering came from afar. Mr. Lin, it's 2.2 million. Are you still bidding? Qin Mo asked slowly. Since this young man is so fond of this ceramic piece, I'll step aside and let him have it. Lin Dongheng said with a dark expression. 210万就已经是亏本价了。若是再出价，亏的就更多了。收藏古董也是要考虑经济价值的。物不能所值，别人不会觉得你豪气，反倒会觉得你是傻逼。亏个10万并不算什么，要是亏一个30多万，那就没有必要了。Very well, then this ceramic piece belongs to Director Chu. Qin Mo immediately lowered the gavel. Director Chu, please come forward to complete the payment. Chu Yang stepped forward and took out his bank card. Run it through. Qin Mo took the card and swiped it on the machine. Ding! Transaction successful. A string of slips spat out from the machine. Chu Yang checked his bank balance. The 3.5 million had dwindled to just 1.3 million in the blink of an eye. Money really did disappear fast. But the thought that those 2.2 million would soon multiply into 30 or 40 million sent a surge of excitement through him. Li Xiaoqin's face had already turned extremely unpleasant. Her heart felt as though 10,000 ants were gnawing at it. 要是不跟楚阳分手，这200多万全部都是我的，而且还是楚阳心甘情愿送出来。完全不需要像在林东恒面前如同狗一般讨好对方才能得到好处。当初楚阳在他面前就如同一条狗一般，招之即来，挥之即去。现在楚阳离开了他，而且还变得这么有钱，这让李小琴十分的不甘心。你所有的钱都应该是我的。李小琴死死地捏着自己的衣角，即便是扯烂了，也毫无所觉。这件陶瓷撑死不过值200万，你竟然花220万买下来，这是一个大冤种。林东恒哈哈笑道，脸上满是嘲弄的神情。楚阳没有理会林东恒，他拿起这件陶瓷，突然一松手，砰的一声。这件价值200多万的陶瓷 直接变成了碎片。大厅之内，所有人惊呼出声，脸上露出了无比惊骇的表情。200多万买的陶瓷，他就这样摔了？他这是疯了吗？绝对是疯了！正常的人怎么会故意摔掉价值200多万的古董？李春江满脸愕然走过来，楚先生，这可是220万买来的，您就这么摔碎了？臭小子，你哪个筋搭错了，竟然用220万来打水漂？林东恒的笑声更大了，脸上露出了无比快意的表情。他对楚阳真的是极尽挖苦之意。楚总，这件陶瓷已经交易完成，已经是你个人物品，摔碎了与我们毫无关系。秦墨见状也是脸色狂变，他生怕楚阳趁机碰瓷，连忙开口撇清关系。放心，这是我个人行为，与你们无关。Chu Yang said lightly. He couldn't wait for Qin Mo to say those words. This way, the Han Dynasty jade seal hidden within the ceramic would have absolutely no connection to the other party anymore. Mr. Chu, what you're doing is... Li Chunjiang was still completely baffled. Spending over 2 million yuan on a piece of porcelain just to smash it to pieces. Such behavior was practically indistinguishable from madness. Just wait and see. There'll be a surprise. Chu Yang smiled faintly, bending down to start sifting through the fragments scattered on the ground. What's the use of rummaging through these fragments? Surely you can't expect to dig out some hidden treasure from mere shards. Lin Dongheng said with undisguised mockery. Chu Beixian paid him no mind and continued searching intently among the broken pieces. At last, a glimmer of joy flashed across his face. Found it. Clutched in his hand was a white jade seal, its surface exquisitely carved with a lifelike coiling dragon. The strangest thing was this jade seal was missing a corner. Mr. Chu, what is this? Li Chunjiang asked curiously when he saw it. A Han Dynasty imperial seal. Chu Yang replied. This statement immediately caused an uproar in the venue. A Han Dynasty jade seal? Real or fake? This is an absolute treasure. Who would have thought it was hidden inside this ceramic piece all along? If it's genuine, doesn't that mean he just stumbled upon an incredible bargain? Everyone stared in utter shock at the imperial jade seal in Chu Yang's hands. You say it's a Han Dynasty jade seal? What proof do we have? Lin Dongheng said with a dark expression. 秦老，要不您来讲讲也。楚阳看向秦墨，缓缓地说道。请稍后，我去拿工具。秦墨的表情严肃了起来。He immediately turned and left. Soon he returned. His hands were clad in a pair of rubber gloves. In his grasp was a magnifying glass. President Chu, please hand me this jade seal. Qin Mo said slowly. Chu Yang placed the jade seal in Qin Mo's hand. Qin Mo took the seal, picked up a magnifying glass, and began examining it. The hall was utterly silent. Everyone held their breath, their eyes fixed on Qin Mo. Qin Mo's expression was initially calm, but soon he began to grow visibly excited. After a full 15 minutes of intense scrutiny, his voice trembled as he spoke. It's indeed a Han Dynasty jade seal, genuine beyond doubt. A wave of clamorous noise erupted throughout the hall, drowning out even the previous uproar. Qin Lao, you couldn't have misjudged this, could you? Lin Dongheng's face darkened with an ugly expression. 如果这真的是汉代玉玺，那他就真的如同错过了1个亿了。林总，你什么意思？敢质疑我的专业吗？秦墨脸色一沉，满脸不悦地质问道。我不是这个意思。林东恒脸色一变，连忙解释道：“他这句话无疑是在砸秦墨的饭碗。要是秦墨真的要针对他，不出3天他就得破产。秦老，这是真品吗？”有人开口问道。“没错，绝对是正品。你们看这里，切了1个角。当初王莽篡位，逼迫汉太后交出玉玺，汉太后生气。”用玉玺砸向王莽，玉玺 掉在地上，摔掉了一个角，所以是正品无疑。秦墨缓缓地说道。Then he turned to Chu Yang and said, Chairman Chu, are you willing to sell this imperial jade seal? I'm offering 35 million yuan for it. Everyone gasped sharply, casting enviously awestruck gazes at Chu Yang. Over 2 million, and with a single flip of the hand, he sold it for 35 million. Robbing a bank wouldn't be this fast. 林东恒现在心里已经郁闷得快要吐血。这块玉玺本来应该是他的，却被楚阳半路给夺了去。此时他的心里就如同被一把刀不停地扎着，一直在滴血。要不是了一直在忍着，早就一口血吐了出来。既然秦老喜欢，我自然没有意见。楚阳立刻答应道。秦墨顿时大喜，直接将3500万转入了楚阳的账户之中。第7章，出来混，靠的是实力。Chapter 7. In this game, it's all about skill ding. 35 million credited. Current balance, 36,300,000. China Construction Bank. Chu Yang looked at the deposit notification on his phone, a wide and delighted smile spreading across his face. Sniping bargains is exhilarating, even faster than robbing a bank. Lin Dongheng's heart practically bled with anguish. 这件陶瓷本来应该是他的，却被楚阳半路杀出抢了去。他现在无比后悔，要是自己多花点钱拿下的话，这3500万就是他的了。不过在场当中最难过的人就是李小琴，他万万没有想到楚阳竟然能够在这么的短时间里赚3500万。This was an astronomical sum she couldn't even dream of in her entire lifetime. Regret was now gnawing at her heart until it bled as she stared at Chu Yang, her face visibly contorted with emotion. If only she hadn't broken up with him, that fortune would undoubtedly have been hers. Chu Yang, you have to give me half of these 35 million. Li Xiaoqin shrieked. That's right, you've been toying with my sister for so many years. Shouldn't you pay some psychological compensation? Li Xiaoping loudly chimed in. Chu Yang, if you're willing to pay up, I might consider letting you two stay together. Wang Guimei stood up and said. Her eyes were practically gleaming as she looked at Chu Yang like he was a money tree. Previously, Chu Yang had been penniless, but now he was a multimillionaire, worthy of her daughter, and their whole family could live an upper-class life relying on Chu Yang. Crazy fools, my money has nothing to do with you, Chu Yang said with utter disdain on his face. Chu Yang, are you really this heartless? Li Xiaoqin asked with visible resentment on her face. Get the hell away from me. The sight of your whole family makes me sick. Chu Yang said coldly. All right, no noise in the auction hall. Manager Lin, control your people, or I'll have you thrown out. Qin Imo said with obvious displeasure. By now, he had fully grasped the relationship between Chu Yang and Li Xiaoqin's family. 对李小琴一家丑陋的嘴脸，自然不会有好脸色。好了，都闭嘴，还嫌丢人丢得不够吗？林东恒沉声喝道。李小琴一家人哪怕是再不甘心，也不敢再多说一句话了。楚阳则是坐回了自己的座位，坐在他身旁的李春江脸上露出了无比兴奋的表情。楚阳的账户里已经超过了3000多万的存款，这就已经相当于他2个月的存款指标了。这样一根金大腿一定要牢牢地抱住，绝对不能让他给跑了。楚先生，我决定您的利息，我行可以再给您提3个点。李春江满脸笑容地说道。楚阳闻言，瞬间便明白过来是怎么回事。自己的存款现在比之前多了10倍，待遇自然也要提升，要不然自己这个大客户可就跑掉了。李行长诚意满满，那我就却之不恭了。楚阳笑了笑说道，这是应该的，您放心，我心一定会为您提供最优质的服务。李春江脸上的笑容愈发的浓郁了。各位， 现在拍卖，今天第2件拍卖品。秦墨的声音传了过来。礼仪小姐也拿出了一个盖着红布的托盘出来，看着红布是一个长条形的，这很明显就是一幅字画。各位，这是唐朝怀素的自叙帖。秦墨将这幅字缓缓打开，只见里面的字一个个龙飞凤舞，完全没有人看得懂，但是在场很多人眼睛却在发光。怀素可是被称为草圣的书法家，与张旭齐名。自叙帖正是他的代表作，收藏价值可是相当高的。楚阳的眼光落在这幅字上，一行文字很快出现在他的眼前。怀素自叙帖乃是现代人临摹之作，价格在5000到8000块左右。楚阳看到这幅字，又看了一眼林东恒，脸上露出了一丝怪异的笑容。于是他故意装作饶有兴趣地说道：“好字，这幅字绝对是真迹。”经过刚才的简陋，在场的所有人都不敢再质疑他的眼光，于是纷纷摩拳擦掌，打算把这幅字拿下，包括林东恒在内。刚才他已经错过了汉代玉玺，不能再错过这幅字了。这幅字起拍价800万，每次喊价不得少于10万。现在开始竞拍。秦墨大声说道：“850万 ，9 million， 1000万。” The bid quickly rose to 20 million. After reaching 20 million, fewer people continued to bid. Because if this calligraphy piece surpassed 30 million, it would lose its value as a collectible. Seeing that hardly anyone was bidding anymore, Chu Yang raised his hand and said, 21 million. 林东恒之前一直没有出手，在看到楚阳喊价了之后，他也终于出手了。2200万。他举起手中的牌子，然后用挑衅的目光看向楚阳。楚阳也没有在意2300万，他完全就是一副志在必得的模样。林东恒见状，眼睛都红了。他今天都已经输给了楚阳一次，要是再输一次，以后绝对会被沦为笑料。所以这幅字他必须拿到手。2300万 ,2400万 ,25 million. Lin Donghan glared at Chu Yang with bloodshot eyes. Do you really dare to challenge me? 26 million, that's my final offer. If President Lin raises the bid again, I'll bow out. But if he doesn't dare to follow through, then I'll happily accept it. Chu Yang said with a smile. 他故意用激将法来刺激林东恒，其实他自己心里也慌得一匹。如果林东恒不接招的话，那他真的要亏到吐血了。不过此时的林东恒早就已经失去了理智，他的脑海里只有一个念头，那就是一定要赢过楚阳。既然你不喊价，那我就出2610万。林东恒的脸上故意露出一丝冷笑，他故意只加10万，就是为了气楚阳。他也很想在楚阳的脸上看到气愤的表情，只可惜楚阳的脸上没有丝毫表情。林总，你赢了。楚阳耸了耸肩，表示放弃了。臭小子，你想跟我斗，还差得远呢。想要在社会上立足，靠运气是走不远的，要靠的是实力。林东恒满脸冷笑地说道：“恭喜林总拍得这件怀素的自叙帖。”秦墨落下了自己手中的锤子。林东恒满脸得意地瞟了一眼楚阳，将钱转给了秦墨，然后抱着这幅字回到了座位。东哥，还是你厉害！李小琴立刻吹捧道：“那是自然，比起某些人来，我肯定是要强上100倍的。”林东恒哈哈大笑道：“尽管花了很多的钱，但是能够压楚阳一头，他还是很高兴的。” 林总的确比我强，花2000多万买一件赝品，的确是财大气粗，有钱任性。楚阳的脸上露出了嘲讽的表情。第8章，没错，我就是耍你。第8章没错，我就是耍你。林东恒闻言顿时心中一跳，你什么意思？就是字面意思。楚阳淡淡的说道，你以为用一句话就能唬到我？ Lin Dongheng snorted coldly and asked, Exactly. I think you're just saying such things because you couldn't win against Brother Dong. Your heart is truly venomous. Li Xiaoqin said with a face full of disdain. Chu Yang, it seems no matter how wealthy you become, you can't change that petty peasant mentality of yours. Li Xiaopeng snorted coldly and said, Anyway, I'm telling the truth. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. Chu Yang sneered and said, President Lin, let me take a look at this calligraphy piece of yours. At this moment, Qin Mo walked over and said, he was merely invited to host the auction and therefore hadn't appraised these 2 auction items. As for whether you might score an incredible deal after winning the bid, that'd be entirely your own skill. But if you end up getting tricked by a counterfeit, then you'll just have to chalk it up to bad luck. Once the deal is done, neither party owes the other anything. Lin Dongheng didn't dare refuse Qin Mo's kindness, so he reluctantly handed over the calligraphy piece to him. Qin Mo spread out the calligraphy on the table and began examining it through a magnifying glass. After studying it for a long while, Qin Mo slowly put down a magnifying glass and asked Chu Yang, Mr. Chu, this calligraphy is clearly genuine. Why do you say it's a forgery? He observed Chu Yang's expression with evident displeasure. It was obvious he also believed Chu Yang was deliberately trying to intimidate Lin Dongheng. Old Qin, do you know the final sentence of Zishu Tai, self-narration scroll? Chu Yang asked with a smile. Of course I know. The last line is only adding to my fear and shame, meaning it merely increases my apprehension. Qin Mo said slowly. 他可是一个专业的古董鉴定专家，对于古董的研究已经晋升到了一个非常高的地步。楚阳的这个问题当然难不倒他，秦老的知识渊博，令人敬佩。楚阳笑着称赞道：“楚先生，你提这个问题是什么意思？”秦墨疑惑地问道：“您看最后一句话是不是少了一个儿子？”楚阳笑着说道：“之前他的天眼已经告诉了这幅字的破绽在哪里，所以他很轻松的就能指出来。”秦墨脸色一变，连忙朝着字帖看去，而林东恒此时的脸色已经变得煞白无比，不祥的预感已经在他的心中蔓延。秦墨没有拿放大镜，只是低头看了一眼字帖的最后一句话，果真是少了一个儿子。要知道，怀素可是唐朝人，已经死了1000多年了，当然不可能活过来再写一幅自序帖。正品自序帖的内容，很多古董鉴定师都知道，尽管这幅字看上去与正品一般无二，但是少了一个儿字，就已经足以说明一切了。秦老，您好好看看，这幅字难道真的是赝品？林东恒脸色苍白地问道。没错，这幅字的确是后人临摹的，只是不知道是哪个年代的人临摹的。秦墨点头说道：“如果是古代人临摹的话，是不是还是很值钱的？”林东恒脸上露出了一丝希冀的表情。这幅字是赝品，已经算是亏钱了，但如果能亏得少一些，他的心里至少能舒服一些。秦老，右下角有一个隐蔽的印章，你看下就知道是哪个年代的了。楚阳笑着说道。他早就知道这幅字就是现代人临摹的，要不然也不会只值几千块钱。 林东恒花几千万买个几千块钱的东西，待会儿非得气得吐血不可。楚阳已经无比期待那一刻了。秦墨拿起放大镜，看向这幅字的右下角，果然看到了一个十分隐蔽而且很小的印章。印章上面的字竟然是简体字，而且是一个不知名的书法家，看来就是一个现代人临摹的。林总，很遗憾地告诉你，这幅字最多值几千块钱。秦墨无奈地说道。他看向林东恒的时候，脸上甚至露出了一丝怜悯的表情。花了2600万多万买一幅几千块钱的字，这已经不是亏本了，这简直就是血亏了。这件事情要是传出去，林东恒绝对会颜面尽失。林东恒闻言，整个人差点没晕过去，直接瘫倒在了椅子上。东哥，您没事吧？李小琴见状，吓了一大跳。林东恒可是一个大钱包，他当然不希望对方出事。你刚才是故意跟我抬价是吗？林东恒咬牙切齿地问道。Exactly. President Lin's financial prowess is truly impressive. Respect, respect. Chu Yang gave a thumbs up and said, You dare mess with me? Lin Dongheng's face turned darker than coal. That's right, I'm just playing with you. Who told you to be so stupid and take the bait so easily? Chu Yang spoke bluntly. Lin Dongheng had never suffered such a great loss before. Although he claimed to have a net worth of 50 million, his actual liquid assets were only just over 30 million. After buying this counterfeit, he'd lose enough to go bankrupt. A surge of indignation welled up in his heart. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood before collapsing unconscious. Brother Dong, call an ambulance quick. Li Xiaoqin immediately flustered and shouted. She had finally found Lin Dongheng as her meal ticket for life. She didn't want to ruin it so soon. The ambulance arrived quickly and took Lin Dongheng to the hospital. Everyone present heaved deep sighs at the sight. Never could they have imagined that Lin Dongheng, habitually domineering and arrogant, would suffer such a crushing defeat today. And astonishingly, this setback was delivered by a young man. This young man had meticulously planned every step from the very beginning, winning the first auction item at a bargain price, then deliberately competing with Lin Dongheng for the second auction item, causing him to lose over 20 million. Such calculated tactics hardly seem like those of a man in his 20s. His capabilities are truly terrifying. That's all it took to make you pass out? No fun at all. Chu Yang let out a long sigh and said. Hearing this, everyone's mouths twitched involuntarily. Damn, this guy actually had the nerve to say such a thing after making someone spit blood in anger. Really pushing your luck after getting a sweet deal. Mr. Chu, I never expected you to have such profound expertise in antiques. Truly remarkable. I'm thoroughly impressed. Li Chunjiang gave a thumbs up, expressing his heartfelt admiration. Turning 2 million into over 30 million. This kind of money-making speed is truly faster than a printing press. He was utterly in awe of Chu Yang. Mr. Chu, how do you do? At that moment, Qin Mo walked over. Chu Yang's antique appraisal skills were truly remarkable, which made him eager to befriend him. Chapter 9. So what if I trade stocks? I've got plenty of money. Chapter 9. So what if I trade stocks? I've got plenty of money. Qin Lao, there's no need to be so polite. Just call me Chu Yang. Chu Yang immediately responded. The other party was older and held in high esteem. He was entirely qualified to address one by their given name. Upon hearing this, Qin Mo immediately developed a stronger favorable impression of Chu Yang. If a young man in his 20s could turn 2 million into 35 million, he would inevitably look down upon everything, thinking that heaven was first, earth second, and himself third. But Chu Yang didn't have that kind of attitude at all. Even after earning 35 million, his expression remained as calm and composed as ever. It was as if he hadn't earned 35 million, but rather just 3,500 yuan. Being able to remain so composed after earning 35 million. Even battle-hardened middle-aged men would struggle to achieve that. Qin Mo saw in Chu Yang a depth of world weariness that completely defied his youth. Little did Qin Mo know, Chu Yang was a man of 2 lifetimes, and his psychological age was actually no less than Qin Mo's. Not to mention, since awakening the heavenly eye, his ambitions had expanded beyond measure, far from being satisfied with merely earning 35 million. Naturally, he couldn't even be bothered with such a paltry sum as 35 million. Chu Yang, I wonder if you're interested in gemstone gambling? Qin Mo asked with a smile. Hearing this, Chu Yang was momentarily stunned. Of course he knew about gemstone gambling. It was even more thrilling than regular gambling. Some people strike it rich overnight. Some people lose everything overnight. Truly, one cut brings paradise, another brings hell. In his previous life, Chu Yang was just an ordinary person who only knew about jade gambling through various media sources. But he wasn't qualified to participate in such matters. Gambling on raw jade requires substantial financial backing and heaven-defying luck. One shouldn't even think about touching it. However, in this lifetime, he could finally afford to play the game. He now possessed substantial financial resources. With the eye of heaven in hand, he also held heaven-defying fortune. Venturing into jade gambling was simply like picking up cash. Of course I'm interested. Elder Qin, do you wish to give me a tour? Chu Yang asked with a smile. In 3 days, there will be a jade trade fair at the shopping center in the west of the city. Various raw stones will be displayed there. If you're interested, you could try your luck. Qin Mo nodded and said, All right, I'll definitely be there in 3 days. Chu Yang agreed without hesitation. It's obviously free money, so of course he wouldn't stand on ceremony. Not picking up free cash would be asking for lightning to strike. See you in 3 days. Qin Mo nodded and handed Chu Yang a business card. Here's my contact information. Let's keep in touch. It was still 2002, and mobile phones were just beginning to become widespread. So business cards hadn't completely faded from the scene yet. All right, my apologies. I haven't had business cards made yet. I'll call you on your mobile later. Chu Yang said with a smile as he accepted the business card. Okay, I'll be waiting anytime. After saying this, Qin Mo left. Mr. Chu, you truly are extraordinary. At this moment, Li Chunjiang approached, speaking with an expression full of admiration. Chu Yang's performance today left him utterly astonished. Not only did he turn 2 million into 35 million, but he also made Lin Dongheng lose over 20 million. Such cunning tactics, such formidable methods. He doesn't seem like someone in his 20s at all. He's more formidable than a cunning old fox who's been in business for decades. And he's already this capable while just being in his 20s. It's simply unimaginable what achievements he'll attain in the future. It's no big deal. Chu Yang shook his head as if he had done something utterly insignificant. He was a man with the heavenly eye. If I can't even surpass Lin Dongheng with all this, I might as well kill myself in shame. Mr. Chu, you're being too modest. Li Chunjiang said with a broad smile. Have your futures and stock accounts been opened yet? Not wishing to continue this line of discussion, Chu Yang changed the subject. Everything will be ready by tomorrow. Li Chunjiang quickly replied. All right, take me to the Securities Exchange Hall tomorrow and get me a VIP booth. Chu Yang nodded and said, Don't worry, I'll take care of it. I'll pick you up at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Li Chunjiang said with a beaming smile. It's about time to buy a car. Chu Yang said slowly. He's at least a millionaire now. Not buying a car hardly reflects his status. Buying a car is as easy as snapping your fingers for you. Li Chunjiang said with an ingratiating smile. Once I make money from this round, I'll go buy a car. Chu Yang said with a smile. His account now already had over 30 million. In his past life, he had always loved Bentleys and dreamed of owning one. Alas, empty pockets meant Bentley could only be met in dreams. That year, Bentley had just entered the domestic market. The most expensive Bentley 728 carried a staggering price tag of 11.8 million yuan. However, Chu Yang wanted to hold onto more ammunition for entering the crude oil market. So I planned to buy the car I wanted once I'd earned enough money. The next day arrived. Li Chunjiang came punctually to pick up Chu Yang. During the car ride, Li Chunjiang said with a smile. Mr. Chu, I've arranged an assistant for you to help manage your accounts. I guarantee you'll be completely satisfied. With that, he let out a rather lewd chuckle. Seeing this, Chu Yang immediately understood that this assistant must be a young woman, and definitely not bad-looking. Chu Yang just smiled without saying a word. After all, his current interest lies in making money. Women no longer hold his attention. He'd been too deeply wounded by Li Xiaoqin in his previous life. I no longer dare to trust women so easily. The two soon arrived at the securities hall. Mr. Chu, please wait here for a moment. I'll go fetch the manager. Li Chunjiang said a quick goodbye before leaving. Chu Yang stood there idly, gazing around with boredom. The securities hall of this year was still bustling with people coming and going. Unlike 20 years later, when the internet became advanced, when one could trade stocks just using a mobile phone. So the securities trading hall was nearly empty. This was an era when the internet had just begun to emerge. It would still be some time before it became a household staple in later years. Chu Yang, what are you doing here? A startled voice came through. Chu Yang furrowed his brows involuntarily upon hearing it, because it was Li Xiaoqin's voice. He followed the sound with his gaze. Sure enough, Li Xiaoqin was holding Lin Dongheng's arm. Behind them followed Wang Guimei and Li Xiaoping. Lin Dongheng's face looked somewhat pale. It seems he still hasn't recovered from yesterday's devastating losses. Only the look he gave Chu Yang was filled with intense malice, as if he wanted nothing more than to devour Chu Yang alive. Naturally, Chu Yang couldn't care less about Lin Dongheng's venomous glare. Anyone who's been swindled out of 20 million would look at their enemy with that kind of gaze. Anyway, looks can't kill. Let him stare if he wants. What does my being here have to do with you? Chu Yang asked indifferently. You're just a clueless loser, yet you dare to dabble in stocks? How laughable. Li Xiaoqin sneered coldly. What's wrong with me trading stocks? At least I have money, unlike some people who just lost over 20 million yesterday and still have the nerve to come back for more. Chu Yang replied with clear mockery on his face. Chapter 10 High School Classmates. The phrase, high school classmates, in Chapter 10 wasn't particularly damaging, but it was extremely insulting. You could say it was a direct hit to Lin Dongheng's most vulnerable spot. Lin Dongheng had suffered such a massive blow yesterday that he hadn't fully recovered yet. Yet Chu Yang actually brought up the old matter again. Instantly, Lin Dongheng was so enraged that his blood rushed upward, leaving his entire face flushed crimson, as if he might spit blood again at any moment. Fortunately, Lin Dongheng's endurance was reasonably strong, and he forcibly suppressed his emotions. You little brat, don't think you can act so cocky just because you got lucky once. Stock trading isn't about luck, it's about skill. Someone like you thinking you can play the stock market, those 30 million of yours will probably turn to dust in no time. Lin Dongheng let out a cold snort as he spoke. Exactly, Chu Yang. What does a country bumpkin like you know about the stock market? Don't throw away the money you just earned. Li Xiaoqin said with a disdainful expression. No matter how much I lose, it's still my money, none of your business. In fact, I should thank you for breaking up with me. Otherwise, I have to share it with you, and that would really be a loss for me. Chu Yang sneered coldly. This sentence instantly hit Li Xiaoqin's sore spot. Last night, as she lay in bed, the thought of Chu Yang now having so much money made her feel as if countless ants were gnawing at her heart. She was already beginning to feel a twinge of regret. If she hadn't broken up with Wu Yang so bitterly, she might have gotten all that 35 million into her hands. She could have just kicked Wu Yang aside later when the time was right. But unfortunately, one wrong step led to another. Now everything is beyond redemption. Don't get too cocky. Money made from temporary luck will be lost sooner or later. I'll be waiting to see the day you go bankrupt. Li Xiaoqin said furiously. Don't worry, that day will never come. Chu Yang sneered as he spoke. He now possesses the heavenly eye, ensuring a 100% success rate in stock trading. This way, his wealth would only continue to grow. Even if a deity descended, they couldn't bankrupt him. Forget it. Don't waste your anger on such lowly people. It's not worth it at all. Let's go to the private room. Lin Dongheng said coldly. He had his own exclusive private room at the stock exchange. This was another way to showcase his status. This room belonged solely to him. No one else was permitted to enter. So he had to pay the stock exchange 5,000 yuan in custody fees every month. But this wasn't the best private room. The best private rooms were on the third floor, where the top business elites gathered. The custody fee for the third floor private rooms was 10,000 yuan per month, and it's paid annually. Only those who are quite wealthy would be willing to spend this kind of money. Chuyang, look at Brother Dong. He even has a private room on the second floor. You don't, do you? Li Xiaoqin asked with a face full of pride. Sis, you're overthinking it. He probably doesn't even have a private room, might not even have an account at all. Li Xiaopeng sneered. All right, let's head upstairs. Today I'll help you all make some money. Lin Dongheng said with a beaming smile. He made his first fortune in the stock market. He naturally possessed immense confidence in his judgment. Just as they were about to leave, Li Chunjiang suddenly walked over briskly with a balding middle-aged man. Isn't that Lu Tao, the manager of the stock exchange? What brings him here? Lin Dongheng said with confusion. Brother Dong, is he here to receive you? Li Xiaoqin asked with a smile. No, he only receives VIP guests from the third floor. Lin Dongheng shook his head and said. At this moment, Li Chunjiang and Lu Tao had already arrived before Chuyang. Mr. Chu, this is Mr. Lu Tao, the manager of the securities exchange. Li Chunjiang introduced Lu Tao with a gesture. Mr. Chu, your private room on the third floor is ready. Please allow me to show you the way. Lu Tao plastered on an ingratiating smile and bent slightly at the waist as he shook Chu Yang's hand. Anyone capable of securing a private lounge on the third floor of a stock exchange is undoubtedly an extraordinary figure. He deemed worthy of such treatment. The bystanders nearby wore expressions of utter astonishment upon hearing this. Chu Yang glanced at Lin Dongheng and asked disdainfully, Is a second-floor lounge really that impressive? Finished speaking. Then he followed Li Chuanjiang and Lu Tao towards the private room on the third floor. 100,000 yuan a year for a private room was indeed a bit pricey. But he couldn't care less about such trifling sums. It's not like we can't earn it back easily anyway. How preposterous! That good-for-nothing. How does he deserve a private room on the third floor? Li Xiaoqin's face flushed red with anger. Now, the better Chu Yang lived, the more it gnawed at her. It's no big deal. Once he loses all his money, he'll naturally be kicked out. I'll be waiting to see his downfall. Lin Dongheng said with a dark expression. Shaolin is right, daughter. Don't be angry anymore. Such a petty man can only gloat for a moment, not for a lifetime. Wang Guimei comforted her. And he truly has discernment. Come on. Today, I'll make you rich. Finally, a smile appeared on Lin Dongheng's face. At that moment, Chu Yang had already arrived at the private room on the third floor. It must be said, paying 10,000 a month for a private room really does come with exceptional conditions. Not only is the decor exceptionally luxurious, comparable to a presidential suite in a hotel. Here, the view is breathtakingly expansive. The display board in the hall can be seen with perfect clarity. Moreover, fresh fruits and various delicacies are elegantly arranged on the table. There was a computer on the desk, specifically used for stock and futures trading. Next to it was a resting area where one could take a break. Mr. Chu, do you find everything satisfactory? Lu Tao asked with a smile. Good job, Manager Lu. Your efforts are much appreciated. Chu Yang nodded in agreement. You're too kind. Having a VIP client like you honor us with your presence is truly our privilege. Lu Tao replied immediately. After chatting with Chu Yang for a while, he left the place, without disturbing Chu Yang. At this moment, suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Your personal assistant has arrived. Please wait a moment. Li Chunjiang said with a smile. He stepped forward to open the door. A strikingly beautiful young woman walked in from outside. This woman had remarkably beautiful eyes. Lucid and clear, they sparkled like stars. Her every gesture exuded an irresistible charm. When Chu Yang saw this woman, instead of showing amazement at her beauty, his face revealed surprise. I never expected it to be her. Mr. Chu, let me introduce you. This is Shun Mengqing. Starting today, she will be your personal assistant. Li Chunjiang gave Chu Yang a meaningful look. The implicit message being, how about it? I didn't lie to you, did I? President Lee, we've met before, Chu Yang said with a smile. Really? Is that true? Li Chuanjiang asked in surprise. That's right, we were high school classmates. Shen Mengqing nodded and said, what a coincidence. You two really have fate on your side, Mengqing. Mr. Chu, whatever requests you have, she'll do her best to cooperate. Li Chunjiang chuckled wryly. With that said, he left. Only Chu Yang and Shen Mengqing remained in the room. Chapter 11, 20 times leverage. Chapter 11, 20 times leverage. Chu Yang looked at Shen Mengqing before him, his heart filled with complicated emotions. Shen Mengqing was the campus belle back in school, with countless suitors vying for her attention. Her desk drawer would overflow with love letters every single day. Chu Yang himself had once harbored a secret crush on Shen Mengqing, but he knew full well that with his circumstances, someone like her would never glance his way. So he wisely spared himself the humiliation. After graduating from high school, Shen Mengqing went to Kyoto to attend a prestigious university. Meanwhile, Chu Yang only got into an ordinary second-tier college. From then on, their paths never crossed again. After graduating from university, he met Li Shaoqin. He initially thought Li Shaoqin was his lifelong soulmate, but little did he know he'd married a vampire instead. From then on, he spent his entire life sinking deeper into hell, never able to turn things around. Now reborn, the only feeling in Chu Yang's heart was, my previous life was worse than a dog's. As for Shen Mengqing's family background, it was truly extraordinary. Her father was Shen Qingzong, the wealthiest man in the entire province. However, Shen Qingzong would go bankrupt 5 years later due to poor business management. Shen Mengqing overnight fell from being the proud daughter of heaven to a destitute phoenix with nothing to her name. After that, Chu Yang never heard any news about Shen Mengqing again. Now, seeing Shen Mengqing again, he truly felt something incredibly special. Why are you looking at me like that? Shen Mengqing asked with a blushing face. Because you're beautiful. Having lived 2 lifetimes, Chu Yang had developed a much thicker skin. Who would have thought that you, always so quiet at school, would learn to be glib like this? Shen Mengqing shot Chu Yang a glare and snapped irritably. I was just telling the truth, Chu Yang said with a laugh. All right, enough joking. When I first saw your name, I thought it might just be someone with the same name. I never imagined it would really be you. In just 5 or 6 years since graduating college, you're already a multi-millionaire. It's truly impressive, Shen Mengqing said with an astonished expression. It was just good luck. I will need your full cooperation in the coming days, Chu Yang said slowly. He was well aware that Shen Mengqing wouldn't even bat an eye at this mere 30 million. Shen Qingzong's father, as the wealthiest individual in the province, boasts a personal fortune exceeding 3 billion yuan. Keep in mind this was 2002, when China's economy had yet to experience its complete takeoff. A 3 billion yuan fortune was sufficient to secure a place within the nation's top 100 wealthiest people. I'm your personal assistant. Working with you is my job, so you can set your mind at ease, Shen Mengqing said with a smile. All right, let's open the futures first. Chu Yang nodded in agreement. As instructed, Shen Mengqing sat down in front of the computer and opened the futures trading platform. Looking at the various futures trades above, clusters of dense numbers flashed before his eyes. Mung beans, current price 4 yuan, recent trend, volatile decline. Rubber, current price 5 yuan, recent trend, a slight upward surge. Oil, current price 5 yuan. Recent trend, surges for 7 days, peaks at 30 yuan, then plummets back below 5 yuan. Of course, these words could only be seen by Chu Yang alone. Seeing the rise in oil prices, a satisfied smile spread across Chu Yang's face. A 6-fold increase if we can seize this market trend at the right moment. His account assets would experience rapid growth once more. Fortunately, after being reborn, he awakened the third eye ability. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to accomplish anything. He wasn't like those protagonist characters in reincarnation-era novels who could remember absolutely everything. There's no way an ordinary person could possibly remember exactly how much a particular stock would rise on a specific day. This is utterly illogical. Chuyang, the futures market is quite bleak right now. To be honest, I don't recommend you enter at this moment. Shen Mengqing said with a serious expression. I believe quite the opposite. Now is precisely the right time to enter. Chuyang spoke slowly. Then what do you plan to buy? Shen Mengqing had no choice but to ask. She was just a personal assistant. She could offer suggestions to clients, but if they didn't listen, there was nothing she could do. After all, it wasn't her money being lost. She was simply very curious about how Chuyang had become so confident now. Back in school days, Chuyang had been a reticent and inconspicuous person. She only knew there was such a person in their class, nothing more. The current Chuyang is brimming with vitality, as if the entire world rests in the palm of his hand. She had only ever seen such commanding presence in her own father before. So what are you planning to buy? Shen Mengqing composed herself and asked. Oil. Chuyang answered without hesitation. Shen Mengqing was taken aback upon hearing this. Oil is an immensely important strategic resource. It's typically controlled by nations and financial oligarchs. Retail investors trying to play the oil market simply can't afford the stakes. With Chuyang jumping in like this, isn't he just throwing money down the drain? Chuyang, won't you reconsider? Shen Mengqing frowned as she tried to persuade him. I've already thought it through very clearly. Chuyang said slowly. Knowing he could earn 6 times the profit, how could he possibly give up? In fact, he even felt his initial capital was too small, so he decided to leverage up. All right, how do you plan to execute this? Shen Mengqing asked. I plan to invest $34 million with 20 times leverage, all into oil. Chuyang said calmly. Shen Mengqing gasped sharply upon hearing this. That's $680 million. Are you really going to gamble this big? Do you realize what it would mean if you fail? Of course I know, but don't worry. Failure is absolutely impossible for me. Who cares? Chuyang said nonchalantly. With a cheat like life, how could failure ever be possible? I must report it to President Li. Shen Mengqing took a deep breath and said, No problem. Chuyang was well aware that such a large sum of money wasn't something Shen Mengqing could decide on her own. When Li Chunjiang received Shen Mengqing's call, he was so startled he nearly dropped his phone. However, after much deliberation, he ultimately agreed to Chuyang's leverage request. Chuyang, Manager Li has agreed, but your principal of $34 million must be fully deposited into the account. Shen Mengqing said slowly. Of course, no problem. Chuyang immediately transferred the $34 million into the futures account. Soon, with Shen Mengqing's operations, the leveraged funds were also deposited into the futures account. The principal of $34 million instantly turned into $680 million. Looking at such a long string of numbers in the account, even Chuyang felt his heartbeat quicken. Despite living 2 lifetimes, this was still the first time he had seen so much money. I never thought I'd have another chance to speculate on oil with such a vast sum of money. Chuyang, it's not too late to back out now. Shen Mengqing urged him once more. If the $680 million investment were to be lost, Chuyang would likely never get a chance to turn his life around again in this lifetime. Don't worry, you should trust in my abilities, Chuyang said with a smile. All right, how are you planning to make the purchase? Shen Mengqing let out a sigh before asking. Buy all oil futures. Don't leave a single cent unspent. Chuyang responded immediately. Shen Mengqing began executing the trades. With a few clicks of the mouse, the $680 million in Chuyang's account was instantly wiped out. Such a large sum was utterly insignificant in the face of the massive capital flows of the oil market. Not even a ripple was raised. Seeing this, Chuyang secretly breathed a sigh of relief. All right, ready to sit back and collect the money. Chapter 12. First Attempt. Chapter 12. First Attempt. The oil market trend still has a week left to conclude. During this time, Chuyang plans to use the $2 million in his account to trade stocks. With his foresight ability, his probability of making money in the stock market is absolutely 100%. He planned to check if there were any abnormal stocks available. Only by investing in abnormal stocks can one make money the fastest. How much savings do you have, Shen Mengqing? Chu Yang looked at Shen Mengqing and asked. I don't have much. Only a little over 300,000, Shen Mengqing said somewhat awkwardly. Hearing this, Chu Yang nodded. In this era, having 300,000 in savings already qualifies someone as wealthy. But considering Shen Mengqing's true identity, this amount is indeed a bit meager for her. Want to make some money? Withdraw it all, and I'll show you how to strike it rich. Chu Yang spoke slowly. You mean you want to take me into stock trading? Shen Mengqing came to her senses. That's right. If you trust me, just follow my investments. I guarantee you'll make a fortune. Chu Yang said with a smile. All right, I believe you. Shen Mengqing transferred all her savings into the stock account without hesitation. This was only possible because she was a rich second-generation heiress. 30,000 would be lost without her feeling the slightest heartache. Anyone else probably wouldn't have had such courage. I'm ready. Which stock should I buy? Shen Mengqing asked. Chu Yang began browsing through the stock market panel. Huayin Industrial, fluctuating upward, will rise by 2% within a week. Luo Light Industry, trending downward with fluctuations, will be suspended tomorrow due to regulatory violations. Tian'an Property, the market is awful. It will plummet by 30% within a week. Chu Yang's eyes swept across the stock listings. Like a precision computer, with just a glance, the rise and fall of every stock became vividly clear before his eyes. Swiftly, one stock emerged clearly in his vision. Shanghai Technology's stock is going wild. It's set to surge 70% over the next 7 days. Reading these words, a faint smile of satisfaction appeared on Chu Yang's face. For 7 consecutive sessions, the stock hit its upper limit. This is without a doubt a speculative frenzy. If I go all in with 2 million, in just 7 days it could turn into over 3.8 million. Day 1, 2 million becomes 2.2 million. Day 2, 2.2 million becomes 2.42 million. Day 3, 2.42 million becomes 2.602 million. And so on and so forth. This stock, the market movement, is about to begin in 5 minutes. So he had to secure this stock at all costs. By Shanghai Technology. Chu Yang pointed at the computer screen and said, Buy it? How much? Shen Mengqing furrowed her brows and asked. All in. Chu Yang responded without hesitation. What? Go all in? Shen Mengqing exclaimed in surprise. This stock has been falling for a month already. Its price is halved, and there's absolutely no sign of a rebound right now. Are you really sure you want to buy? Of course, let's buy. If we don't buy now, we might miss our chance. Chu Yang said with a smile. All right. Shen Meng clicked the mouse a few times. In an instant, the 2 million in Chu Yang's account was emptied, all invested in Shanghai Technology. The stock's performance was already weak, with many sell orders. So the transaction went through quite quickly. Chu Yang secretly breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the trade was successful. The future profit of over 1.8 million was finally secured. If you trust me, go all in. I won't let you down. Chu Yang said slowly, gazing at Chu Yang's utterly confident expression. Shen Mengqing clenched her teeth. All right, I trust you. She immediately invested all 300,000 in her account into Shanghai Technology. In the following hours, Shen Mengqing kept anxiously staring at the computer screen. She watched as Shanghai Technology continued to plummet. In just 10 short minutes, it had already dropped by 3%. Shen Mengqing's 300,000 instantly turned into 291,000. Chu Yang fared even worse. 2 million became 1.94 million. Yet there sat Chu Yang on the sofa, sipping tea and eating fruit. It could be said to be extraordinarily relaxed, as if the money he lost wasn't even his own. Chu Yang, this stock keeps falling, Shen Mengqing said with a gloomy expression on her face. Don't rush. The market hasn't arrived yet. When it comes, you won't be able to stop it even if you try. Chu Yang slowly popped a grape into his mouth as he spoke. Hearing this, Shen Mengqing couldn't help but sigh quietly to herself. Where on earth did he get such confidence from? At that very moment, the stock movement of Shanghai Technology suddenly shifted dramatically. A massive buy order abruptly poured into Songhai Technology. Instantly, it was as if Songhai Technology had been injected with stimulants. The previously limp line suddenly surged upward sharply. In less than 5 minutes, it had already hit the daily limit up. Moreover, the large order remained intact, meaning the limit up was securely locked in with absolutely no possibility of breaking. Witnessing this, Shen Mengqing was utterly stunned. How could this be? Isn't this too exaggerated? Qian, it's hit the limit up. Shen Mengqing swallowed hard as she spoke. Her 30,000 had grown to 33,000. Chu Yang's 2 million had become 2.2 million. She thought to herself that money really does come quickly in the stock market. I know, it was to be expected. Chu Yang ate a grape and said slowly, "Do you have some inside information or something?" "Really?" Shen Mengqing asked doubtfully. "Of course not. I just rely on intuition." Chu Yang said indifferently. I have to say, that line was incredibly pretentious. But Shen Mengqing was still impressed by his act. Making money in the stock market just by gut feeling, doesn't that sound a bit unreliable? Shen Mengqing frowned and asked. "You'll find out later. My intuition is usually spot on," Chu Yang said with a smile. "So, when should we sell this stock?" Shen Mengqing asked doubtfully. "There's no rush. Let's wait another week. The next 7 trading days will all be limit up days," Chu Yang said slowly. 7 consecutive limit ups? That means I'd earn over 200,000 yuan. Shen Mengqing was taken aback. 7 consecutive limit up days had doubled her savings, from 300,000 to over 500,000. This is just pocket change. Don't get too worked up about it. Chu Yang burst into laughter. By the way, there's a Jade trade fair the day after tomorrow. Would you be interested in seeing some stone gambling? Chu Yang asked slowly. Great. Of course, no problem. Shen Mengqing's eyes lit up as she immediately replied. All right, come with me to buy a car first. I'll pick you up directly the day after tomorrow. Chu Yang said nonchalantly. What kind of car do you want to buy? Shen Mengqing asked. Buy a Bentley. Chu Yang thought for a moment and said, A Bentley? That's a car worth over 10 million. Are you sure you want to buy it? Shen Mengqing asked in surprise. Of course, with a car worth tens of millions, it's not like I can't afford it. Don't worry about it, Chu Yang said nonchalantly. Although his money was currently tied up in futures and stock accounts, Li Chunjian had issued him a credit card with a limit of 50 million. In just 7 days, the oil market will surge, and he stands to make billions. A mere 10 million is nothing. All right, there happens to be a Bentley dealership nearby. Shen Mengqing nodded and said, Chapter 13, I'm not interested in you. Chapter 13, I'm not interested in you at the same time. In another private room, Lin Dongheng's face had turned utterly grim. He intended to make some money with Li Xiaoqin this time. He chose a relatively steady stock. Although this stock wouldn't skyrocket, earning a modest profit was still guaranteed. Lin Dongheng had made his first bucket of gold in the stock market, so he was quite confident in his own judgment. So he had Li Xiaoqin go all in on this stock. Had Chu Yang been present and seen this stock, he would have burst out laughing. Because this very stock was the Luoyang Light Industry he had just seen being suspended for regulatory violations. After buying into Luoyang Light Industry, this stock has been continuously falling, at one point dropping nearly 9%, close to hitting the lower limit. Dong, why does this stock keep dropping? I even mortgaged my house to buy stocks. Li Xiaoqin's face was utterly grim. She had also heard about Lin Dongheng's track record in the stock market, hence she trusted him completely. He directly mortgaged the family house and took out an 800,000 yuan loan. Unexpectedly, within just half an hour, they had already lost nearly 80,000 yuan. The Li Xiaoqin family's faces turned green from the losses. Don't worry, it's just a technical adjustment. It'll bounce back soon. Lin Dongheng wiped the cold sweat from his brow and spoke. However, the course of events quickly plunged them into dire straits. Luo Light Industry suddenly halted trading and issued an announcement stating it was suspended due to regulatory violations. No one knew when it would be released. Li Xiaoqin's 800,000 was locked inside, impossible to withdraw. At this, the expressions of Li Xiaoqin's entire family grew increasingly grim. They could almost devour Lin Dongheng in their rage. Of course, Chu Yang had no idea about these things. Had he known, he'd have woken up laughing in his dreams. At this moment, he and Shin Mengqing had already arrived at the Bentley dealership. Every car here carried a price tag in the tens of millions. In an era where the average monthly salary barely exceeds 1,000 yuan, a car worth tens of millions is something many wouldn't dare to dream of. Even 20 years later, a Bentley would still be an unattainable luxury car for most. In his past life, Chu Yang once dreamed of owning a Bentley. Though of course, it was only ever in his dreams. Never thought I'd have the chance to drive my dream car after being reborn in this lifetime. The two had just stepped into the dealership when an astonished voice suddenly called out, "Shin Mengqing, is that you?" The speaker was a young man around 26 or 27 years old, dressed in an expensive suit. Leaning against this young man was a heavily made-up woman. Her entire body emitted an overwhelming, pungent perfume scent. The layers of powder on her face were at least 3 coats thick. This woman couldn't hold a candle to the naturally beautiful Shin Mengqing standing before her. "You are?" Shin Mengqing's face was full of confusion. The young man couldn't help but darken his expression. He hadn't expected Shin Mengqing to actually not remember him. "I'm your college classmate, Zhou Jijia. Don't you remember?" Zhou Jijia asked with a beaming smile. He had secretly harbored feelings for Shin Mengqing back in their school days. Back then, Shin Mengqing was both the school belle and a top student. As a delinquent and academic underachiever, he knew he wasn't worthy of her. Now that he's finally achieved success in his career, he's crossed paths with his campus goddess again. His heart immediately began to stir with restless longing. "It's you. It really has been so long," Shin Mengqing suddenly realized. "Mengqing, I'm currently the general manager at a subsidiary of Shun Group with an annual salary of 400,000. Zhou Jijia said with immense pride. "Oh," Shin Mengqing didn't seem to care in the slightest. 400,000 meant very little to her. Besides, the guy standing before her was merely an employee working for her family. And Chu Yang by her side had earned 200,000 in just a single day. Naturally, he didn't think an annual salary of 400,000 was anything particularly impressive. Zhou Jijia had initially been full of hope, expecting to see Shin Mengqing gazing at him with utmost admiration in her eyes. Yet, to his surprise, Shin Mengqing merely responded with a simple "oh." This instantly shattered all his hopeful expectations into thin air. It could be said to be utterly miserable. "Shin Mengqing, ever since our school days, I've always liked you. I believe that with my current capabilities, I'm undoubtedly worthy of you. How about becoming my girlfriend?" Zhou Jijia said slowly. The woman beside him turned noticeably grim upon hearing those words. But she quickly regained her composure. She knew her place well. She was just Zhou Jijia's plaything. As long as she stayed obedient, she could get whatever she wanted. As for love and status, she could always find some gullible man later to settle for that. "I'm sorry, I don't have feelings for you." Shin Ruoqing refused without hesitation. "I'm now a company executive with a high annual salary. Am I still not good enough for you?" Zhou Jijia's face darkened instantly. He was utterly convinced that Shin Ruoqing, upon seeing how outstanding he had become, would never refuse him. Never did he expect to be rejected so outright, without the slightest hesitation. "Young lady, when choosing a man, one must select the exceptional. Only then can you enter the circles of high society. Otherwise, you'll be stuck at the bottom for life." The heavily made-up woman beside her sneered and said, "Relying on selling yourself like a whore to enter high society, I'd rather stay out." Shin Ruoqing said with undisguised contempt, "You, what do you know? Look at this bag, over 5,000. This necklace, more than 10,000. You probably couldn't afford these in your entire lifetime." The heavily made-up woman said angrily, "I'm not interested in these things. Stay away from me. I don't want to see you." Shin Ruoqing said coldly, "How dare you? You can't leave." Zhou Jijia immediately reached out to pull Shin Ruoqing. Yet a hand stopped him. She said she doesn't want to see you. Please leave. Chu Yang's voice came through. Zhou Jijia looked at Chu Yang. The man appeared somewhat handsome, but his attire was utterly plain. Instantly, Zhou's blood boiled with anger. Shin Mengqing, I never imagined, even after all these years since graduation, your taste would degenerate so terribly to fancy such a second-rate man. Zhou Jijia sneered coldly. Who Mengqing chooses to be with is her own freedom. You don't need to be a meddling dog catching rats. Mind your own business. Chu Yang said slowly. This is a place only high society can enter. Someone like you must have snuck in. Zhou Jijia said with a grim expression. Their argument had already drawn the attention of those nearby. Soon, security guards arrived on the scene. The head security guard immediately recognized Zhou Jijia and broke into an ingratiating smile. Director Zhou, it's you. It's really been a long time since we last met. Captain Chu, how are you running this security team? How could you let unauthorized people slip in? A mouse sneaking into such a high-end place completely ruins my car buying experience. Watch out, I might file a complaint against you. Zhou Jijia said coldly. Chapter 14, a 10 million yuan Bentley, paid in full. Chapter 14, a 10 million yuan Bentley, paid in full. Our sincerest apologies. This was entirely due to our oversight. We'll have them removed immediately. Captain Chu immediately responded when he heard this. He glanced at Chu Yang and Shin Mengqing, noticing their plain attire, and concluded that they weren't wealthy people. They probably came just to test drive the Bentley and experience the thrill of driving a luxury car. Many people had done such things before. He usually turns a blind eye and can't be bothered to intervene. But now that a client like Zhou Jijia has spoken up, he has to take action. You too, you're disturbing Mr. Zhou here. Please leave. Captain Chu said with a grim expression. Captain Chu, just kick him out. Just kick this guy out. This beautiful lady is my friend. She can stay. Zhou Jijia pointed at Chu Yang and said with a cold smirk. He was doing this purely to humiliate Chu Yang. He also wanted to show off his authority in front of Shin Mengqing. Dream clear. Today I'll show you who the real winner is. You've gone astray now, and it's my responsibility to bring you back to the right path. Zhou Jijia said with a triumphant expression. No problem, I'll kick him out right now. Captain Chu looked at Chu Yang and said, Sir, please leave. This isn't a place where you should be. Everyone says the customer is God. Is this how you treat your customers? Who asked you to come? Chu Yang asked with a frosty expression. Only those who can afford a car are customers. What kind of customer are you? Just some broke loser. Captain Chu sneered and said. Seeing that Chu Yang refused to cooperate, he waved his hand, intending to have the security guards forcibly drag him out. Meanwhile, on the second floor, two people were already descending the stairs. One of them was a middle-aged man in his 50s. This middle-aged man was somewhat overweight, with a receding hairline that formed a classic Mediterranean bald spot. Standing right beside him was Qin Mo, an acquaintance of Chu Yang. As the two walked down the stairs, they happened to hear the commotion. Qin Mo also spotted two security guards who were about to approach Chu Yang. His face instantly twisted with alarm. Everyone, stop right there! The sudden shout startled everyone present. The onlookers quickly recognized Qin Mo's identity. To think old Master Qin was here all along. He's a nationally renowned collector with a net worth already exceeding 1 billion. With such wealth, could they possibly know this young man? Zhou Jijia clearly recognized Qin Mo too, his face breaking into an ingratiating smile. So it's Elder Qin. Who are you? Qin Mo glanced at Zhou Jijia and asked. I'm Zhou Jijia from the Shin Group. We met briefly at an antique auction last year. Zhou Jijia said with a smile. What are you all doing? Qin Mo asked with a dark expression. That guy is clearly a broke-ass loser who sneaked into this high-end place just to scrounge a ride. I'll have security kick him out right now. Zhou Jijia pointed at Chu Yang and said, I think the one who should be thrown out is you. Qin Mo roared. It startled everyone, especially Zhou Jijia, who was so frightened that his body jerked. With a face full of confusion, he asked, Qin Lao? What do you mean by this? Qin Mo ignored him and walked up to Chu Yang instead. Mr. Chu, I didn't expect to see you again so soon. Everyone's eyes instantly widened in astonishment. They had never seen Qin Mo show such deference to anyone before. The crowd began whispering among themselves, speculating about Chu Yang's background. Zhou Jijia's face turned ashen, with cold sweat breaking out on his forehead. He realized he had undoubtedly kicked an iron plate. Elder Qin, what a coincidence. Chu Yang reached out and shook Qin Mo's hand. Mr. Chu, what exactly is going on here? Qin Mo asked slowly. I originally came here to buy a car, but this guy insisted on calling me a pauper, and the security guards tried to kick me out. It really ruined my mood for car shopping. I think I'll go to another dealership instead. Might as well get a Porsche. Chu Yang shook his head and said, Who gave him a nerve to call you poor? You made over 3 million in a single day yesterday. Since when did poor reach such high standards? Humph, Qin Mo sneered. Hearing this, everyone gasped sharply. Who exactly is this young man managing to earn over 30 million in a single day? This is absolutely terrifying. No wonder Elder Qin treats this young man with such respect. Zhou Jijia's legs turned to jelly with fear, and cold sweat poured even more profusely down his body. Good heavens! His annual salary of 400,000 yuan wasn't even worth a fart in front of someone like that. And there he was just moments ago, shamelessly bragging in front of them. Talk about being the clown all along. This is really bad. I've actually offended someone so powerful. Old Lin, this is your matter now. You decide how to handle it. Qin Mo looked at the balding middle-aged man and spoke. The Mediterranean-looking middle-aged man was none other than Lin Dehai, the general manager of this exclusive dealership. Mr. Chu, my deepest apologies. This was a lapse in my management. Today, your vehicle purchase will receive our maximum discount offer, along with an exemption from purchase tax. Lin Dehai had risen to his position as general manager precisely because he was a smooth operator who could navigate any situation. As a luxury vehicle brand, Bentley's naturally attracted very few buyers in the first place. Those who can afford a Bentley are either wealthy or noble. Such clients must be retained. Otherwise, it would be his dereliction of duty. Given your sincerity, I'll let today's matter slide. However, I don't want to see these security guards again. Chu Yang pointed at the trembling Captain Chu and his 2 companions, who were now shaking like leaves. Old Chu, the 3 of you go to the finance department to settle your wages. Don't come to work tomorrow. Lin Dehai decisively fired all 3 of them on the spot. Captain Chu was so terrified he collapsed to the ground. His face was filled with regret. If only he hadn't stepped forward to back up Zhou Jijia. He never expected to hit such an iron wall. The salary here is exceptionally high. If fired, finding another job like this would be harder than reaching the heavens. Manager Lin, please give me another chance. I swear I'll never do it again. Captain Chu said with a mournful face. Old Chu, I have no other choice. You'd better leave quickly, Lin Dehai said with a sigh. Captain Chu knew the situation was irreversible, so he could only leave with the 2 security guards behind him, all wearing sorrowful expressions. Mr. Chu, are you satisfied now? Lin Dehai asked with a beaming smile. Not bad. Prepare the contract. Chu Yang said slowly. Mr. Chu, which model would you like to purchase? Lin Dehai immediately inquired. The 728. Chu Yang replied nonchalantly. The Bentley 728 limousine is a custom-built version based on the standard Arnage model, with each unit priced slightly differently, starting at 11.88 million yuan. Keep in mind this was 2002. Over 10 million yuan, absolutely an astronomical sum that even middle-class families wouldn't dare dream of. He had already made up his mind to acquire this car before arriving. No problem. May I ask if you'd like to apply for installment payments? Our store also offers the most favorable loan policies. Lin Dehai's smile grew increasingly radiant. This was truly a major deal. Who needs installments for a mere 10 million yuan car? That's just embarrassing. Pay in full directly, Chu Yang said with an indifferent expression. His attitude made it seem like he wasn't talking about 10 million, but a mere $1,000. Chapter 15. How could a dog like you be worthy of me? Chapter 15's line, how could a dog like you be worthy of me, sent a collective gasp through the crowd. Never had they imagined that Chu Yang could be so outrageously wealthy, not even batting an eye at 10 million. Lin Dehai's eyes also gleamed as he looked at Chu Yang with full admiration. Now, this is a real VIP client. Excellent, I'll prepare the contract for you immediately, Lin Dehai said with a beaming smile. with him personally handling it. All the procedures were expedited at the fastest speed. In less than 20 minutes, the contract and car keys were already placed before Chu Yang. With a grand gesture, Chu Yang signed his name on the contract and took out his bank card, saying, "Charge it." Beep, 10 million credited. The card reader sounded the transaction success tone. Chu Yang also took the car keys in hand. This scene left Zhou Zhijie utterly dumbfounded. $1 million. Even if he didn't eat or drink, it would take him 25 years of work to earn that much. Yet Chu Yang casually spent it without a second thought. At last, he truly understood the sheer magnitude of the gap between himself and Chu Yang. "Now who's the poor bastard?" Shen Mengqing asked coldly. Zhou Zhijie's face instantly darkened upon hearing this. Gritting his teeth, he hissed, "Shen Mengqing, you pretended to be pure and innocent back in school. Who knew you'd learn to cozy up to rich men? You're nothing special, just another cheap plaything for the wealthy to toss around. What nonsense are you spewing?" Shen Mengqing's expression drastically changed, her face flushing red with rage. "Did I say something wrong? You're just another worthless slut. There'll come a day when you're cast aside like trash after others have had their fill." Zhou Zhijie declared these words with immense satisfaction. "Did you forget to brush your teeth this morning? Your mouth stinks so bad." Chu Yang instantly grew furious upon hearing this. "What's wrong? Hit a nerve, didn't I? No matter how rich you are, Mr. Chu, you can't do anything to me. I'm an employee of the Shun Group. You've got no authority over me, and I'm not afraid of you," Zhou Zhijie said smugly. Chu Yang looked at Shen Mengqing with an extremely peculiar expression after hearing this. Isn't Shun Corporation owned by Shen Mengqing's family? If Shen Mengqing wanted to deal with him, wouldn't it be as easy as turning over her hand? I never expected that someone like you, a parasite, would appear in Shun Corporation. Shen Mengqing snorted disdainfully and spoke. "Whether I'm a parasite or not isn't for you to decide. What exactly can you do about it anyway?" "Keep dreaming," Zhou Zhijie sneered with disdain. Shen Mengqing sneered coldly and pulled out her phone to dial a number. "Is there someone named Zhou Zhijie in the branch company? I never want to see that person again." After hanging up the phone, she said coldly, "You're fired, and not just here, anywhere in the entire province. If you want a future, you'd better leave this province." "Who do you think you are? Fire me just like that? What, are you the Shun Group's young mistress or something?" Zhou Zhijie burst into laughter, completely dismissing Shen Mengqing's words. At this moment, his phone suddenly rang. Picking up the phone and glancing at the screen, his face broke into an extremely ingratiating smile as he answered the call. "President Wang." "What? I've been fired." "What?" Zhou Zhijie was completely stunned, his phone slipping from his grasp. The phone crashed to the ground, shattering into pieces. He remained completely unaware. Who are you? Wait, you share the surname Shun. Could you be?" Zhou Zhijie quickly connected the dots. "That's right, my father is Shun Qingzong. Honestly, I've no idea where you found the confidence to think you could ever be worthy of me," Shen Mengqing said coldly. Everyone except Chu Yang had an expression of utter shock on their faces. No one could have imagined that this beautiful girl standing before them was actually the daughter of Shun Qingzong, the wealthiest man in the country. And the daughter of Shun Qingzong was surprisingly on such good terms with Chu Yang. This way, Chu Yang's status in everyone's minds rose yet another level. Being able to become friends with the daughter of the provincial capital's richest man definitely marked him as anything but ordinary. "Young mistress, I was wrong. I beg you, give me one more chance." Zhou Zhijie dropped to his knees with a thud. He struggled for many years before finally achieving today's success. If he were to be fired, he would truly have nothing left. Having grown accustomed to the life of a wealthy man, losing everything would be more unbearable than death itself. "I don't want to see this person again," Shen Mengqing said faintly. "Don't worry, Miss Shun, I'll kick him out right away." Linda Hai promptly responded. Shen Mengqing was, after all, the daughter of the wealthiest man in the province. He dared not disobey such a man's words. If he angered Shun Qingzong, his shop survival would become truly impossible. That was that. Zhou Zhijie was swiftly dragged out by the security guards. His female companion didn't dare stay another moment either, fleeing in a panic with a look of sheer terror on her face. The onlookers couldn't help but sigh with regret. It's best not to be too arrogant in life. Otherwise, you might unknowingly provoke someone far beyond your league. The consequences would be utterly disastrous. Some even thought Shen Mengqing was being excessively harsh. Just because someone insulted her a few times, she actually made it impossible for them to survive professionally in the entire province. This woman's tactics are truly ruthless. Chuyang didn't find Shen Mengqing's actions inappropriate at all. When someone's already riding roughshod over you and slandering your reputation, people like this are fortunate to be living in a society governed by law. In ancient times, offending a young lady from a prestigious family like Shen Mengqing in public could easily have gotten you beaten to death on the spot. It must be said that there are many scoundrels in this world who commit all sorts of evil deeds, yet still live comfortably. This is simply because they're fortunate enough to live in a society governed by the rule of law. Chu Yang and Shen Mengqing followed Linda Hai to the front of the purchase car. A Bentley 728 Extended Custom Edition. The massive body exuded nothing but dignified luxury. Its streamlined contours showcased sheer elegance. The elongated body, far exceeding the length of an ordinary sedan, exudes an exceptionally imposing aura. In this era, where even owning a regular car was considered enviable, Chuyang was certain to draw countless awestruck gazes if he drove this vehicle through the streets. Gazing at the car before him, an expression of unparalleled satisfaction spread across Chuyang's face. In his previous life, he had always dreamed of owning a Bentley. Unfortunately, he was leached dry by Li Xiaoqin's family. No matter how hard he worked, he remained destitute. He couldn't even afford an ordinary car, let alone a Bentley. I never expected to have a second chance at life. Now I can finally make up for all the regrets of my past. Mr. Chu, this is your car. The license plate has already been registered for you. It's 4/8. Insurance and all purchase taxes have been waived, so you can hit the road right away. Linda Hai said with a beaming smile. Then I must thank President Lin for your kindness. Chuyang couldn't help but admire Linda Hai's ability to handle people. It's the least I could do, and it represents my apology. Linda Hai responded immediately. I'll take my leave now, Chuyang said slowly. Remember the gambling stone gathering the day after tomorrow. Qin Mo reminded him. Don't worry, I'll definitely be there on time. Chuyang nodded and said. Chapter 16, The Gambling Stone Convention. Chuyang drove his Bentley down the bustling avenue. In this era, when cars weren't yet so numerous, the traffic on the streets remained relatively smooth. As his luxury vehicle advanced, other cars instinctively gave way, afraid that even a slight scratch could potentially bankrupt him. All pedestrians couldn't help but gaze respectfully at this domineering vehicle. Even if many people didn't recognize the car model, they could instinctively sense its extravagant value. Chuyang sat inside the car, his heart swelling with indescribable satisfaction. No wonder it's a luxury car. The drive is absolutely exhilarating. When the time is right, I might even consider buying a private jet. In the future, the truly wealthy won't even bother with cars. They'll all be playing with private jets and yachts. Chuyang believed he would have all these things sooner or later, and it wouldn't be too far away. Chuyang, you won't blame me, will you? Shen Mengqing asked with extreme unease. What do you blame me for? Chuyang asked slowly. I blame myself for hiding my identity from you, for not telling you that my father is Shen Chengzong. Shen Mengqing replied. I actually figured it out long ago. Chuyang said with a smile. What, you figured it out long ago? How did you guess? Shen Mengqing asked in surprise. With your eloquence and demeanor, you clearly don't come from an ordinary family. A regular bank employee couldn't possibly have 300,000 in savings or drive such an exquisite car. Being this wealthy and bearing the surname Shen makes you quite easy to identify. Chuyang's face wore an expression of smug confidence. Shen Mengqing looked at Chuyang's utterly self-assured expression, her heart fluttering slightly. Of course, she had no idea Chuyang was actually a reborn soul. A confident man simply exudes incomparable charm. Chu Yang's image had unknowingly left an indelible mark in her heart. The next 2 days, Chu Yang spent his time immersing himself in the stock exchange, closely tracking crude oil trends while keeping an eye on stocks as well. Everything unfolded exactly as he had anticipated. The oil market had yet to reach its peak. It continued fluctuating between rises and falls. As for stocks, they had already climbed by 2 daily limit ups. The balance in Chu Yang's account had surged to 2.6 million. Shen Mengqing had also followed suit and made a small fortune. She couldn't help but feel a bit amazed. Stock trading really brings money quickly. Just a few clicks and millions are in your hands. No wonder many people dive into the stock market and never want to come out. Such a feeling is truly intoxicating. However, Shen Mengqing's mood wasn't so pleasant when she checked the oil futures account. Because in Chu Yang's oil trading account, he had already lost nearly 30 million. She looked at Chu Yang and noticed not a trace of panic on his face. Still as composed as ever. Naturally, there was nothing more to say about it. Time quickly arrived at the day of the stone gambling. Chu Yang and Shen Mengqing drove to the market in the western part of the city. By the time I arrived, the place was already packed with people. The marketplace was filled with all kinds of stone materials everywhere. Many people were busy selecting stones and then taking them for cutting. After the stones were cut, some people cheered, some people were dismayed, some even fainted on the spot. Those who fainted were quickly carried away by medical staff onto waiting ambulances. Clearly, such incidents happened quite frequently, and everyone had become rather experienced with them. Chu Yang and Shen Mengqing weaved through the crowd, watching with great interest. For both of them, it was their first time visiting this place. Naturally, everything felt extraordinarily novel to them. Shen Mengqing, is it really you? At that moment, an extremely delighted voice came through. A fashionable young man in his 20s walked over. The young man was dressed in very trendy clothes. However, the large gold chain around his neck made him look like a nouveau riche. His eyes were also somewhat puffy. Clearly, he looked like someone indulging in excessive drinking and womanizing. Yang Meng? So it's you? Shen Mengqing couldn't help but frown. Chu Yang also recognized this person. This person was none other than his and Shen Mengqing's high school classmate. Back in their school days, relying on his family's wealth, he had been the class bully. He gathered a bunch of lackeys to follow him around, bullying the poorer students in the class every day. Chu Yang was naturally among them. Moreover, back then, he had pursued Shen Mengqing. He had even publicly declared Shen Mengqing as his girlfriend. Whenever Shen Mengqing spoke to any member of the opposite sex, that person would inevitably be ambushed and beaten senseless with a sack. Afterwards, Yang Meng's family would always use money to smooth things over, and in the end, no one would pursue the matter further. Over time, not a single male classmate dared to speak to Shen Mengqing anymore. This made Shen Mengqing harbor deep hatred for Yang Meng. It wasn't until they attended university that Yang Meng was sent abroad by his family for studies. That's why we lost contact. Never thought we'd meet here. That's right, it's me. I didn't expect you'd still remember me. Yang Meng's face was all smiles. His eyes roamed shamelessly over Shen Mengqing's entire body. His gaze made Shen Mengqing's skin crawl. Who would have thought, after all these years, you're still just as beautiful. You haven't changed a bit. Do you have a boyfriend now? If not, why not be my girlfriend? As long as you're with me, I'll buy you anything you want. Yang Meng said with immense excitement. Sorry, we're not a good match. Shen Mengqing refused without hesitation. Why aren't we a good match? I'm so rich. You're so beautiful. Talented man and beautiful woman. Aren't we a perfect pair made in heaven? Yang Meng asked, somewhat stunned. Because I already have a boyfriend. It's him. Shen Mengqing took hold of Chu Yang's arm and leaned her head against his shoulder. Chu Yang was momentarily caught off guard before he could even react. A delicate fragrance wafted into his nostrils, making his heart flutter with emotion. Shen Mengqing leaned against his shoulder, warm and soft. This sensation enveloped his entire being, filling him with the desire for Shen Mengqing to stay leaning against him forever, never leaving. Chu Yang? Could it really be you? Yang Ming saw Shun Mengqing leaning on a man's shoulder and instantly burned with jealousy. Soon he realized the man looked very familiar. It turned out to be Chu Yang, another high school classmate of his. Yang Ming, long time no see. Hope you've been well, Chu Yang said slowly. You worthless dog, a spineless coward who didn't even dare breathe loudly when I slapped you at school. How dare you steal my woman? Have you lost the will to live? Yang Ming roared furiously. This angry outburst drew the attention of countless onlookers. They all immediately crowded around to watch the spectacle. Watching spectacles and indulging in gossip has always been the nature of our people. Be they poor or rich, none are exempt. Isn't that the eldest young master of the Yang family? That's definitely not someone to mess with. Have these young lovers grown tired of living? How dare they offend him? This young Master Yang has always been fond of shady dealings. His methods are ruthless beyond measure. Who dare challenge him when his father's loaded? So long as he doesn't beat someone to death, money can smooth over any trouble. Everyone was looking at Chu Yang and Shun Mengqing as if they were already dead. Yang Ming, watch your mouth, Shun Mengqing said with a frown. Chapter 17, Dare to make a bet with me. Chapter 17, Dare to make a bet with me. Did I say anything wrong? Shun Mengqing, I never thought you'd choose this loser over me, Yang Ming said with a gloomy expression. Yang Ming, you keep calling me a useless good-for-nothing left and right. Feeling pretty smug about it, huh? Chu Yang frowned as he spoke. What's the matter? Or are you saying you're not a worthless loser? Have you forgotten how back in school, I beat you up so badly, you didn't even dare to show up for classes? Yang Ming asked with a cold sneer on his face. Yang Ming, do you still think we're in school now? You should know that fortune ebbs and flows like the tide. Chu Yang said slowly. Don't be fooled by Yang Ming's current arrogance. He remembered it clearly just 2 years later. Yang Ming's father passed away from a sudden heart attack, leaving the company to Yang Ming. But someone like Yang Ming, how could he ever manage a company? In less than half a year, his family's company was driven to bankruptcy by competitors, and he himself ended up homeless on the streets. It's truly lamentable. You worthless bum eating pickles with steamed buns for 3 meals a day, you're not qualified to speak to me, Yang Ming said angrily. You flirt with my girlfriend and then tell me to shut up? That's way too overbearing, Chu Yang said coldly. A worthless loser like you has no right to be with Shun Mengqing, Yang Ming said with a face full of disdain. Who I'm with is none of your business, Chu Yang replied calmly. I'm warning you, leave Shun Mengqing immediately, or you'll regret it, he threatened. Yang Ming's eyes were filled with a chilling glint. His facial expression also twisted with anger. What, still planning to have someone beat me up? After all these years, you still haven't grown at all, Chu Yang said with blatant disdain on his face. What nonsense is this? I'll beat you so badly, even your own mother won't recognize you. Yang Ming, like gunpowder, finally ignited. He reached out, about to grab at Chu Yang. Chu Yang responded with a cold snort. Don't let Yang Ming's burly appearance fool you. Years of indulgence in wine and women have long sapped his vitality. If it really came to blows, he was confident he could knock Yang Ming down with a single move. The battle could erupt at any moment. Chu Yang was also preparing to teach Yang Ming a brutal lesson. Back when he was studying, he'd often been bullied by Yang Ming's lackeys. Now was the time for vengeance to settle old scores. Of course, he wouldn't let such a perfect opportunity slip by. Stop right there. Who dares make trouble here? At this very moment, an urgent voice came through. Everyone looked up to see Qin Mo walking over quickly. It's Elder Qin. Today's gemstone gambling event was organized by him, so his presence isn't surprising. Yang Ming comes from a wealthy family. Old Master Qin would never make things difficult for him. That young man will probably be kicked out instead. Indeed, Old Master Qin is someone who can't tolerate the slightest misconduct. Daring to cause trouble in Old Master Qin's territory, they must have a death wish. Everyone looked at Chu Yang and Shun Mengqing with utmost pity in their eyes. Qin Mo walked over with a gloomy expression. What happened? Elder Qin, I'm Yang Ming. My father is Yang Yanhai, you know him. Yang Ming quickly plastered on an apologetic smile as he spoke. Oh, it's you, Xiaoyang. What on earth is going on here? Qin Emo nodded and said, given his status, of course he wouldn't spare Yang Yunhai a second glance. Even Yang Yunhai could only position himself as a junior in front of him. Not to mention Yang Meng, who was practically a junior 2 generations down. It's this guy, clearly a penniless bum who can't even afford a meal, yet he comes here to look at stones. He's obviously causing trouble. You should kick him out immediately. Yang Meng pointed at Chu Yang as he spoke. Chinamo finally got a clear look at Chu Yang and couldn't help but smile. You said he was a penniless loser? Exactly, he's just a poor loser. Someone like him doesn't deserve to be here. Yang Meng nodded and said, Xiao Yang, I think you've misunderstood something. Mr. Chu here is my esteemed guest that I personally invited. Chinamo said slowly. He walked up to Chu Yang, proactively extended his hand, and said, Mr. Chu, why didn't you call me when you arrived? I'm truly sorry this misunderstanding has occurred. These words caused everyone's faces to instantly reveal expressions of utter astonishment. They were all speculating about Chu Yang's true identity. He actually made Qin Emo initiate a handshake. I just wanted to take a look first, but I didn't expect to encounter something like this. Chu Yang said with a smile. Thank goodness you showed up in time. Otherwise, I would have had to teach Yang Meng a severe lesson. He thought quietly to himself. Elder Qin, you must be mistaken. How could this guy possibly be an honored guest? Are you serious? Yang Meng asked, his face a picture of disbelief. Xiao Yang, are you implying that I've gone senile? Qin Emo asked somewhat displeasedly. I didn't mean it that way. This guy is my high school classmate. His family's been dirt poor since childhood. Ate plain steamed buns with pickles at school every day. I just didn't want you to get fooled by him. Yang Meng's face changed color as he hurriedly explained. Xiao Yang, Mr. Chu here is an expert in antique appraisal. Someone who turned 2 million into 35 million. How could he possibly be a penniless man? Qin Emo said slowly. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but gasp in astonishment. Turning over 2 million into 35 million. That's even faster than robbing a bank. No wonder old Qin treats him with such respect. Turns out they're in the same profession. Seems he came here today hoping to scoop up some bargains too. Gambling on raw jade is quite different from authenticating antiques. Yang Meng's face also turned extremely unpleasant. His expression remained one of utter disbelief. He never could have imagined that Chu Yang, who back in school couldn't be coaxed into saying a word even with 3 slaps, would transform into an antique appraisal expert. And what's more, he'd already made tens of millions. A few tens of millions indeed means you're no longer broke. However, his face quickly showed a look of disdain. He said coldly, just 30 million? My father has a net worth of 1 billion. Compared to me, you're still just a pauper. Your father has a fortune of 1 billion. What about you? Chu Yang said nonchalantly. These words were truly soul-crushing. They instantly rendered Yang Meng speechless. His face immediately burned with stinging humiliation. I never expected you to become so sharp-tongued. Yang Meng said with a darkened expression. I'm just telling the truth. I earn my money through my own abilities, while someone like you, grown up and still always bringing your dad into everything. Have you not been weaned yet? Chu Yang retorted with unmistakable scorn. Everyone burst out, laughing uncontrollably at those words. Chu Yang's tongue was just too vicious. Still on mother's milk. How outrageous. How dare you? Chu Yang, do you have a death wish? Care to make a bet with me? Yang Meng asked with a gloomy expression. What do you want to bet? Chu Yang slowly inquired. Chapter 18. The $50 million wager. Chapter 18. The 50 million bet stone gambling. We each pick 1 stone, then compare whose is higher value after cutting. Do you dare? Yang Meng asked coldly. Of course I dare. What do you want to bet? Chu Yang asked slowly. He possessed divine foresight. There was simply no way he could lose. Moreover, he'd never heard that Yang Meng knew anything about betting on raw jade. A surefire wager must be taken. If I win, you'll leave Shin Mengqing immediately. Yang Meng sneered coldly. She's my girlfriend. I won't use her as a bet. Chu Yang shook his head in refusal. What, are you scared? If you're too afraid, then kneel down for me and crawl out of here on your hands and knees. Yang Meng burst into laughter. Let's bet with money. Didn't you always brag about being rich? Chu Yang said slowly. Fine. How much do you want to bet? Yang Ming asked coldly. Just a small bet, 50 million. Chu Yang said casually. He knew Yang Ming, this wealthy second-generation heir, whose monthly allowance couldn't exceed 1 or 2 million at most. It was simply impossible for him to come up with 50 million. But Chu Yang had no intention of letting him off. Back in their school days, that guy bullied him every single day. Today, he would return grievance for grievance, vengeance for vengeance. Make him feel some excruciating pain. What, 50 million? Yang Ming was shocked. Chu Yang guessed right. He currently only had around 3 million to his name. 50 million was truly beyond his means. Too scared, are you? If you don't dare, then get on your knees and crawl out of here. Chu Yang let out a cold laugh as he spoke. He threw Yang Ming's words right back at him. What a joke. I'll take that bet. The loser not only has to fork over 50 million, but must also kowtow to the winner and call him Grandpa 3 times. Do you dare? Yang Ming, of course, couldn't possibly back down. Fine. Elder Qin, we'd appreciate you serving as witness. Chu Yang looked at Qin Mo and said, No problem, but are you sure you're okay with this? Qin Mo spoke with a hint of concern. Appraising antiques is an entirely different field from gambling on raw jade. It's extremely unlikely for one person to master both fields simultaneously. He was genuinely worried that Chu Yang might be acting on impulse. After all, young people can get carried away at times. Don't worry, this guy was my high school classmate. I know him well. He doesn't have the slightest clue about jadeite gambling. Chu Yang spoke slowly. Chu Yang, you're calling me out? As if you know anything about gemstone gambling either? Yang Ming snorted coldly as he spoke. As it happens, I studied a bit after graduating college. Beating you shouldn't be a problem. Chu Yang said calmly. He was someone who had the heavenly eye, any stone material in his sight. Was like an unclothed member of the opposite sex, with absolutely no privacy left. The only pity was the heavenly eye wasn't X-ray vision. Otherwise, that day would have been absolutely euphoric. At the very least, facing a stunning beauty like Shen Mengqing every day is undoubtedly the best visual treat. Of course, I don't understand it myself, but I've brought in an expert. With him here, you're doomed today. Yang Ming sneered as he spoke. No matter who comes, I've already won against you. Chu Yang said calmly. Such arrogance. Old Lin, please come over. Yang Ming snorted coldly and said. The words had scarcely been spoken. A middle-aged man in his 50s, clad in a long robe, stepped forward. This middle-aged man wore a jade thumb ring on each hand. The jade rings gleamed with a deep green hue. Astonishingly, both were emerald grade. Extremely precious. Lin Xiangdong? So it's you. Qin Mo's expression involuntarily changed upon seeing this middle-aged man. No way. So this is Lin Xiangdong. I never expected him to come. He's a master in the gambling stone industry. I've heard his nickname is Ghost Eye. Any stone he picks is guaranteed to yield a huge profit. Yes, 10 years ago, he turned 5 million into 200 million in one go. That made him famous overnight, and his reputation shook the entire world. This young man is in trouble, daring to compete against Lin Xiangdong. Isn't this an amateur going up against a professional? Everyone stared at Lin Xiangdong with stunned expressions. What should we do now, Chu Yang? Shen Mengqing's expression turned solemn as she listened to the crowd's murmurs. Mr. Chu, Lin Xiangdong has arrived. This doesn't look good. Qin Mo's face also darkened in dismay. Don't worry, whether it's Lin Dongxi or Lin Cixi, I can beat him, Chu Yang said with utter indifference. No matter how formidable the Ghost Eye is, it's still just something from the underworld after all. Could it possibly rival his celestial eye? Chu Yang, this elder Lin Donglin, known as the Ghost Eye, is famed for his stone gambling skills. You're doomed today. Yang Ming laughed triumphantly. I don't care if he's called Ghost Eye or Cat Eye. To me, they're all the same. Chu Yang said coolly. Young man, you truly are audacious. May I ask under whose tutelage you studied? Lin Xiangdong said coldly. I have no master. I learned entirely on my own. Chu Yang replied slowly. So you're just some self-taught amateur, daring to challenge me. Lin Xiangdong said disdainfully. That's right, I'm self-taught, but beating you won't be a problem. Chu Yang replied calmly. Chu Yang, aren't you afraid of twisting your tongue with such boastful talk? Have you no idea how formidable old man Lin truly is? Are you kidding me? Yang Meng sneered. He's only impressive because he hasn't met me yet. Chu Yang spoke slowly. Today's young people really have no respect for their elders at all. Lin Xiangdong said coldly. Respect should be earned. For those who try to take advantage of their age to step on me, I won't mind stepping back. Chu Yang sneered as he spoke. Kid, I was gambling on raw jade stones when you were still nursing your mother's breast. Today, I'll teach you what real stone gambling is all about. Lin Xiangdong sneered as he spoke. We'll meet at the stone-cutting workshop in half an hour. Don't even think about running away, or you'll regret it. Yang Meng said with a cold smirk on his face. Someone wants to give me 50 million. Why would I run? Chu Yang said calmly. Who ends up giving whom 50 million remains to be seen. Yang Meng snorted coldly and followed Lin Xiangdong to pick stone materials. Mr. Chu, are you really determined to compete with Lin Xiangdong? Qin Mo asked with a frown. Absolutely. Chu Yang nodded and said. But Lin Xiangdong's abilities are terrifying. He's never lost a single match since his debut. Qin Mo said with a solemn expression. That's because he never faced me before. Chu Yang declared with absolute confidence. Qin Mo's forehead was so tightly furrowed that the creases formed the character Chan between his brows. He simply couldn't understand why the usually composed Chu Yang had gotten so worked up today. Don't worry, I'll definitely win. Chu Yang said slowly. I believe in you. Shen Mengqing said with a smile. Come, let's go pick out some stone materials. Chu Yang called out and headed towards the stall selling stone materials. Shen Mengqing and Qin Mo had no choice but to follow along. Chu Yang arrived in front of the stone vendor stall. Dozens of stalls were lined up here, each displaying various types of raw stones. His eyes swept over these stone materials, and all sorts of information surfaced before his vision. Chapter 19. My intuition is always right. Chapter 19. My intuition is always right. Chu Yang's eyes continuously scanned across all the raw stones. Piece after piece of information kept flashing before his eyes. New pit stone, worthless scrap. Old pit jade, with a touch of ice-like transparency. Ordinary stone material, green on both sides, but hollow in the middle. Chu Yang walked while casually observing, as if skimming through various items. He appeared completely nonchalant. Lin Xiangdong was the complete opposite of Chu Yang. He chose stones with meticulous care. For every stone that caught his eye, he would study it with utmost seriousness. He would even gently tap them with a hammer. Seeing this, everyone's faces showed expressions of boundless admiration. Compared to him, Chu Yang was truly too much of an amateur. Yang Meng sneered even more coldly upon seeing this. He could already picture the scene of 50 million slipping effortlessly into his hands. Chu Yang paid no attention to the glances from others, continuing to browse the stone materials placed on either side as if casually strolling past flowers. Suddenly, a piece of raw stone material caught his eye. Old pit stone, containing top-grade emerald, valued between 30 to 35 million. Reading these words, Chu Yang's heart leaped with wild excitement. He looked up at the stone slab. Yet the stone material appeared pitted and uneven, utterly unsightly in presentation. On the surface, it appeared to be nothing more than worthless scrap. No one would have guessed that it contained a top-grade emerald within. Had it not been for Chu Yang's heavenly eye, even he wouldn't have known its true value. But he didn't let his inner excitement show, instead calmly approaching the booth and squatting down with feigned indifference. He didn't initially glance at that particular stone. Instead, he deliberately examined several other stones. He even pretended to pat them for show. Yet such actions only made him appear all the more amateurish in everyone's eyes. This isn't like picking watermelons. What can you really tell by slapping it a couple times? After slapping the stone for over a minute, Chu Yang gave his chosen raw jade a couple firm pats. Feigning hesitation, he finally asked, "Boss, how much for this raw piece?" Everyone immediately showed looks of disdain on their faces. This is clearly a worthless stone, yet he actually picked it. Isn't this just giving money to Yang Meng for free? We thought he was a king, but turns out he's just a bronze. a stubborn bronze at that. Beside him, Chinamo also wore a troubled expression. Mr. Chu, this stone material is clearly worthless scrap. Yes, sir, this piece of or is truly worthless. I advise you not to waste your money. Even the boss seemed a little embarrassed and tried to persuade him. I have a hunch that this stone will definitely rise in value, and by a huge margin. Chu Yang said slowly. Intuition? The crowd listened and shook their heads incessantly. Relying on intuition for stone gambling sounded utterly unreliable. Mr. Chu, you can't rely solely on intuition when betting on stones, Chin Imo said with a frown. Don't worry, my intuition has always been accurate. Chu Yang replied with a smile. Yang Ming burst into laughter upon hearing this. Looks like someone's about to become my lucky money boy. That 50 million is as good as mine. Nothing stopping me, and I mean nothing. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. Save yourself the embarrassment. Chu Yang said indifferently. I'll be waiting to see who loses 50 million and then crawls out on their knees. Yang Ming said with a proud expression on his face. I want this piece of raw stone, boss. Name your price. Chu Yang said slowly. Are you sure you really want this piece of raw stone? The boss still asked with some uncertainty. This stone had been ignored by everyone, and he had planned to simply throw it into the warehouse and never bother with it again after returning. Of course. Chu Yang answered without hesitation. Then, let's make it 3,000 yuan. The boss hesitated before speaking. Shin Mengqing, who was standing nearby, immediately objected. You just said this is scrap material, yet you're asking for 3,000? That's outrageous. Miss, this is just the shipping cost. Transporting it here cost me this much. I'm not actually making any profit, the boss said with a helpless expression on his face. No matter 3,000 it is. Swipe the card. Chiang took out his bank card and paid directly. After completing the payment, he lifted the piece of raw stone and carried it over to the cutting area. I've made my choice. What about you? Chu Yang glanced at Yang Ming and asked nonchalantly. I've made mine too. Lin Xiangdong approached carrying a slab of raw stone. The stone he selected had a smooth exterior. On its surface, there was actually a faint greenish shimmer. With stones like this, one glance tells you the odds of a massive price surge are high. Lin Xiangdong truly lives up to his ghost eye reputation. You can tell at a glance the stones he picks are destined for huge appreciation. That's right, it seems today's outcome is already decided. I originally thought that young man surnamed Chu would be quite skilled, but who knew he was just all talk and no action? How utterly boring. Lin Xiangdong glanced at the stone Chu Yang had selected and said with undisguised contempt, to pick a worthless scrap, competing with someone like you is a complete waste of my time. The match isn't over yet. It's too early to call the winner. Just let it be, Chu Yang said indifferently. He cast a divine glance at the stone material Lin Dongxian had chosen. There is indeed green within this piece of stone, but it was only slightly green on the surface. Once fully unraveled, it's just worthless scrap material. That tiny bit of green won't fetch much money at all. I heard Lin Xiangdong actually spent over 300,000 to buy this stone. Looks like he's going to lose until he vomits blood. I really don't know where you get the confidence to still be talking tough at this point. Lin Xiangdong snorted coldly as he spoke. Elder Lin, no need to waste words on him. If we win against him, how about I give you 20 million out of the 50 million? Yang Ming asked nonchalantly. His face was brimming with the expression of someone who already held victory in his grasp. It was as if Chu Yang's 50 million was already pocketed in his wallet. Why, of course, since when does anyone complain about having too much money? Lin Xiangdong sneered coldly. Two idiots. Do you really think you've got me cornered? Go ahead and cut the stone first. Chu Yang said indifferently. If you really want me to cut it open, then once I start, you won't get a chance. Humph. Lin Xiangdong snorted coldly. I really don't know where you get your confidence from. To me, what you're holding is nothing but worthless scrap. Chu Yang said with undisguised disdain. For over 20 years, I, Lin Xiangdong, have dominated the stone gambling circles without a single mistake. Today, I'll show you exactly how I earned the name Ghostite. Lin Xiangdong declared with an air of superiority. Anyone can brag, but it's time to see if you're a real horse or just a donkey. Show what you've got. Chu Yang said indifferently. He already knew Lin Dongxian had picked a dud. It seems Lin Dongxian's ghost eye reputation is about to be shattered today. Take a good look. Lin Dongxian snorted coldly as he spoke. Carrying the stone slab in his hands, he walked over and placed it before the cutting machine. Master, begin the stone cutting. Okay, how should we cut it? The stone cutting master, seeing work coming his way, perked up and asked. First cut the surface, then grind it. Lin Xiangdong said slowly. If you cut it from the middle, it's easy to damage the jade inside. Damaged jade means huge losses. The price difference between intact jade and damaged jade is like night and day. All right, leave it to me. The stone-cutting master immediately turned on the machine and began slicing into the raw jade material. Chapter 20. Prepare 50 million. Chapter 20. Prepare 50 million. As soon as the master cutter split the surface, a faint hint of green indeed appeared within. It's green. It's green. There really is green, truly worthy of being called ghost eyes, as formidable as expected. Everyone stared at Lin Xiangdong with stunned disbelief. Lin Xiangdong also glanced at Chu Yang with an unmistakable look of triumph. Kid, how about that? Now you see what I'm capable of, don't you? Think you'll still dare to spout nonsense? Really? Lin Xiangdong sneered as he asked. Chu Yang, your 50 million is ready for me to take with a smile. Yang Meng roared with laughter. He looks as if those 50 million are already in his pocket. It's just a faint shade of green on the surface. You're celebrating too soon. Chu Yang said nonchalantly, truly refusing to accept reality until facing absolute defeat. Master, help wipe it clean for me. Lin Dongxiao snorted coldly and spoke. The stone-cutting master didn't dare to delay either. He knew this involved a 100 million yuan wager, so he didn't dare to be careless. He immediately started polishing the stone. After he finished wiping the surface, the group's initially astonished expressions instantly turned to disappointment. What a shame, it's just some ice-type jade. Seems Ghost Eyes really missed the mark this time. Yeah, these pieces of ice jade are worth at most a few thousand at best, but he spent 300,000 on them. He's practically throwing money down the drain. Lin Xiangdong's expression also turned rather unpleasant. Master Lin, what exactly is going on here? Yang Ming asked with a dark expression. Young Master Yang, don't worry about appearances. Though this stone looks like ice jade on the surface, I'm convinced there's something exceptional inside. Lin Xiangdong insisted stubbornly. Lin Xiangdong, stop being so obstinate. I told you earlier this is nothing but a worthless rock. Don't keep cutting it. You'll only ruin your reputation. Chu Yang said calmly. Shut up. When I was dominating the jade gambling scene, you were still drinking milk somewhere. What right do you have to criticize here? Lin Xiangdong snapped coldly. Exactly, Chu Yang. You're just a coward afraid of losing when Elder Lin uncovers a top-grade stone. How despicable and dishonorable your intentions are. Yang Meng said with undisguised contempt. You bite Lu Dongbin's hand that feeds you, ungrateful wretch who can't tell good from bad. I was just giving earnest advice, but if you won't listen, then there's nothing more I can do. Chu Yang sighed and said, You actually call me a dog? Yang Meng's face turned crimson with rage. It's me, so what? What are you going to do about it? Chu Yang asked with a face full of disdain. You're asking for a beating. Yang Meng replied through gritted teeth. Who's going to get beaten up is still up in the air. Humph, Chu Yang snorted coldly. A spoiled young master like Yang Meng who had squandered his health. He could take on 3 opponents at once. Back in school, he was always the one who got bullied. It's because Yang Meng has too many lackeys around him. If they wanted to beat me up, there was no need for me to lift a finger. Now the other party has no bodyguards present. At last, the time has come to settle old scores. After all these years since graduation, you've grown quite the backbone, you pathetic loser. Today, I'll make sure you can't even take care of yourself. Humph, Yang Meng sneered. With that, he made ready to strike. Enough, no fighting is allowed here. Anyone who wants to fight can get out. Qin Imo stepped between the 2 men, his face dark as he spoke. This gambling stone convention was organized by him. If a fight broke out here, it would be a direct slap to his face. He absolutely would not allow such a thing to happen. Yang Ming, deeply wary of Qin and Mo, had no choice but to reluctantly back down with a face full of resentment. His face seething with unwillingness, he glared at Chu Yang. Chu Yang, you're just lucky. You could say your luck is slightly better. Chu Yang also felt somewhat disappointed. He had missed yet another opportunity to beat Yang Ming to a pulp. At this moment, Lin Xiangdong had already instructed the stone-cutting master to continue slicing the rough stone. After the master cut through the stone with the machine, there was absolutely nothing inside. Even Lin Xiangdong was beginning to lose his composure. Cold sweat even broke out on his forehead. How could this be? Could I have really misjudged the situation? Impossible. He said unwillingly, keep cutting. Soon, the stone was cut once more. This time, it was sliced directly down the middle. It turned out to be completely empty inside as well. Just a worthless stone after all. Even the ghost eye has moments where it meets its match. All that excitement for nothing. I nearly got worked up over this. What a total letdown. Everyone looked at Lin Xiangdong with disdainful eyes. Lin Xiangdong's face had already turned pale by this point. He knew his reputation built over years had been ruined in a single day. Such is the cruel nature of worldly affairs. No matter how many times you've succeeded before, just one failure means plunging into bottomless abyss. Grandpa Lin, what's going on here? Yang Ming asked with a darkened expression. Mr. Yang, my apologies. I never expected to make such a mistake this time. Though Lin Xiangdong was unwilling to admit it, he had no choice but to acknowledge his misjudgment. Losing 300,000 didn't pain him. What truly depressed him was the loss of his reputation. I told you long ago, this is a worthless stone, yet you refuse to believe me. Chu Yang's voice came through. Hearing this, the crowd was instantly stunned. Only then did they recall that Chu Yang had indeed declared it a worthless stone earlier. Could Chu Yang's gambling skills with raw stones possibly surpass Lin Dong's? If that were truly the case, it would be absolutely terrifying. Chu Yang, you worthless loser, you just got lucky. Stop acting like a big shot. Yang Ming glared at Chu Yang and said, You'd better prepare the 50 million quickly, because I'm definitely winning it. That's final. Chu Yang declared with absolute confidence. You haven't even cut the stone open yet. What makes you so sure you've won? Lin Xiangdong scoffed and questioned. Exactly, your piece is clearly worthless. There's absolutely nothing inside. At least mine is worth a few thousand, and there might still be a chance I can win against you. Yang Ming's eyes lit up as he spoke. Truly, you won't admit defeat until you see the coffin. Today, I'll make you convinced beyond doubt, Chu Yang said lightly. He picked up the stone material in his hands and walked over to the cutting machine. Sir, how would you like it cut? The stone-cutting master immediately asked. No need to trouble you. I can cut it myself. Chu Yang smiled and said. The master stone carver was taken aback by this. However, he quickly yielded his position. During stone gambling, many enthusiasts prefer to make the cuts themselves. So he had long grown accustomed to it. Chu Yang placed the stone material on the cutting machine and began cutting. With his heavenly eye, he naturally knew exactly how to proceed with the cut. After the first cut was made, a dazzling green light shone through the stone. It's rising, it really is. Who would have thought there'd actually be green inside? A piece that looked like waste rock on the surface turned out to be a treasure. Everyone stared at Chu Yang in utter shock. Yang Ming and Lin Xiangdong's expressions were starting to turn unpleasant. Yet they still clung to a thread of hope in their hearts. Perhaps this layer of green was merely superficial. It might be completely empty inside. Chu Yang paid no heed to the gazes of those around him. In 3 swift strokes, he completely sliced open the stone. At that very instant, the world fell into a deathly silence. Even the very act of breathing seemed to pause. Chapter 21. If you can't repay the debt, make your father pay, like son, like father. Chapter 21. If you can't repay the debt, make your father pay, like son, like father. A lush, vibrant jade stone lay quietly on the cutting machine. The jade was flawlessly pure, its transparency so exquisite it seemed unreal. It looks so vibrant that one can't tear their eyes away. One glance tells you this is a piece of supreme jade. This is a top-quality emerald. My God, I've never seen such a large emerald before. I'll take this emerald. 3 million is my offer. 3 million is nothing. I'll throw in 3.5 million. I'll bid 40 million. There were many jade merchants present. Seeing such exquisite jade, of course one would want to acquire it. If these jade pieces were crafted into jewelry, their value would undoubtedly double. This business venture would be a guaranteed profit with no losses. Yang Meng and Lin Xiangdong, standing nearby, had by now completely frozen in stunned silence. How is this possible? That good-for-nothing actually won the bet. Yang Meng simply couldn't believe what was happening before his eyes. Lin Xiangdong's face was filled with utter dejection. He knew all too well. After this battle, his reputation was completely ruined. Young Master Yang, get out of here now, or else we'll really lose 50 million. Lin Xiangdong gave Yang Meng a push. Yes, let's get out of here fast. Yang Meng finally realized what was happening, and panic instantly set in. He had no more than 2 million at most. 50 million, even if they sold him, he couldn't scrape that together. So immediately, he and Lin Xiangdong decided to slip away unnoticed while everyone was distracted. Once he leaves this place, getting him to admit anything again won't be happening. Yang Meng, where do you think you're going? At that moment, Chu Yang's voice came through. He'd been keeping an eye on Yang Meng's movements all along. Because he knew the other's shady nature, they'd definitely try to sneak away. But how could he possibly give them that chance? Those 50 million had to be wrested from Yang Meng's grasp. That shout instantly drew everyone's gaze toward Yang Meng. Yang Meng's face instantly flushed crimson with intense embarrassment. Is the illustrious young Master Yang, with his billion-dollar fortune, thinking of running away? Chu Yang asked with a cold sneer. Who's running away? I just needed to use the restroom. Yang Meng said defiantly. Qin Lao, you're the witness. Who won this bet? Chu Yang turned to ask Qin Mo. Of course you won. Qin Mo replied. Yang Meng, honors are easy. 5 million. Hand it over. Chu Yang said nonchalantly. Qin Mo nodded to the staff member beside him. The staff immediately brought over a point-of-sale machine. In this era, online transfers didn't exist yet. The POS machine was the fastest method available. Watching the machine, Yang Meng's face turned alternately pale and flushed, his body trembling uncontrollably. A forced smile appeared on his face. Chu Yang, this time it's my fault. Let me off this once. I swear I won't appear before you again. Let you off? If I lost, would you let me off? Cut the crap, pay up. Chu Yang snorted coldly. Chu Yang, don't push your luck. If you go too far, don't blame me for being rude. Yang Meng's face instantly changed. Buddy, you owe me money and still dare to threaten me? Where the hell do you get the nerve? Who are you? Chu Yang asked coldly. Chu Yang, if you let me go today, we can still talk things over. But if you don't, no matter what business you try to run in the future, my Yang family will make sure you're shut down. Yang Meng asked with a grim expression. Block me? People who don't know better might think the Yang family has the power to cover the skies in Tian'an. If you don't pay up today, you're not leaving, not even if the king of heaven himself comes. Chu Yang sneered as he spoke. He was a cheat with literal cheats. What did he care about being blocked? Others should count their blessings if he doesn't kill them. I'm leaving today, and I'd like to see who dares to stop me. Yang Meng snorted coldly and turned to leave. Yang, that's just low. Stop him. At this moment, Qin Mo finally spoke. The look he gave Yang Meng was utterly contemptuous. Not only gambling, but also refusing to pay the debt. Such behavior was truly despicable. Of course, he had to help Chu Yang. It wasn't like he had any reason to fear the Yang family. As soon as the words left his mouth, 2 burly men blocked Yang Meng's path. Old Master Qin, what do you mean by this? Yang Meng's expression instantly changed. Qin Mo's status was extremely high. Even Yang Meng's father would have to show him deference. A debt is a debt, and gambling dues must be paid. It's only right. Pay up, Xiaoyang. Qin Mo said slowly. I don't have that much money on me. Yang Meng stammered hesitantly. Hearing this, the crowd burst into an uproar. He doesn't even have that much money on him, yet he dares to gamble with others. Such a person is truly despicable. Who would have thought Yang Yunhai could raise such a son? Truly a mighty tiger producing a feeble dog. Everyone looked at Yang Ming with utter contempt in their eyes. You don't have any capital on you, yet you're still making bets with others. Such behavior is utterly contemptible to both gods and men. It's equivalent to playing cards with someone, then only revealing you brought no money when it's time to pay your losses. This kind of behavior will get you beaten up. Listening to the voices of the crowd, even Yang Ming, with his thick skin, wished he could crawl into a hole in the ground. Elder Qin, let me go back and raise the money. I promise I'll definitely bring it over. Yang Ming rolled his eyes and said, just let me leave here and I won't bother with you anymore. Yang Ming, do you take me for a 3-year-old? If you really leave, will you come back? You're not that trustworthy. Chu Yang immediately saw through Yang Ming's clever scheme. What do you want then? Yang Ming instantly asked angrily. Call your dad over. Let him come settle the debt. Chu Yang said slowly. No way, if my dad finds out about this, he'll beat me to death. Yang Ming's expression changed. Then I'll have to call the police and let them deal with your dad. Chu Yang shrugged his shoulders and said, no, I promise you. Yang Ming took out his phone and dialed Yang Yunhai's number. With a tearful voice, he recounted the incident to the other party. Even without putting it on speakerphone, everyone could still hear the furious voice emanating from the phone. 10 minutes later, a gloomy voice came from outside. What kind of person dares to detain my son? Such audacity. Then a middle-aged man in his 50s walked in. His appearance bore a 70% resemblance to Yang Ming. Yet his temperament was worlds apart from Yang Ming's. Just by walking, he exuded an overwhelming presence. The way his gaze swept across made people shrink from meeting his eyes directly. Witnessing this, Chu Yang couldn't help but feel impressed in his heart. No wonder he's Yang Yunhai. Starting out selling his labor in his youth, he fought his way up to where he is today. His demeanor is thick with outlaw toughness. Rumor has it he even has ties to the underworld. Few in Tian'an dare to cross him. So his personality was also exceedingly domineering. Dad, save me. Yang Ming saw Yang Yunhai and immediately cried out loudly. Chapter 22. Having too much money is also a kind of trouble. Chapter 22. Having too much money can also be a problem. Smack. A resounding slap landed heavily on Yang Ming's face. His face instantly swelled up grotesquely. Clutching his cheek, he stared at Yang Yunhai with abject terror, not daring to utter a single word. Yet in his eyes, a fleeting trace of concealed resentment flashed by. No one noticed at all. You useless piece of trash. All you do is cause trouble for me every day. Just wait till we get home. Yang Yunhai cursed viciously. After saying this, he looked at Qin Mo and asked in a deep voice, Mr. Qin, isn't it a bit inappropriate for an elder like you to get involved in a quarrel between youngsters? President Yang, you've misunderstood. This has nothing to do with me. It's a dispute between your son and this Mr. Chu here. Qin Mo responded calmly. Only then did Yang Yunhai notice Chu Yang. Young man, who are you? Just a casual question, Yang Yunhai said nonchalantly. His demeanor when speaking could be described as arrogant and haughty. He didn't give Chu Yang a second thought. Dad, he's my high school classmate. Both his parents are poor farmers. Yang Ming said loudly. Shut your mouth. Yang Yunhai shot him a glare. But at this moment, his heart was also set at ease. As long as this young man had no significant background, it would be easy to handle. Young man, since you're my son's classmate, don't you think this is going too far? Yang Yunhai asked slowly. President Yang, you must be joking. This bet was initiated by your son, and the stakes were also set by him. Now that he's lost and can't pay up, how does that become my fault? Chu Yang said coolly. Always leave room for reconciliation. Who knows when our paths may cross again. Do me this favor today and let the matter rest. What do you say? Yang Yunhai asked in a commanding tone. What arrogance! You think your mere reputation can write off 50 million? President Yang, is your reputation really worth that much? Chu Yang let out a cold laugh as he asked. What do you want? Yang Yunhai's face darkened as he asked with visible hostility. Paying debts is as natural as heaven and earth. If Chairman Yang doesn't deliver the money today, all of Tianan will know by tomorrow that he's defaulting on a mere 50 million. Chu Yang said calmly. Brad, do you have any idea who you're dealing with in Tianan? Watch yourself. I'll make sure you can't survive another day in this city. Yang Yunhai's eyes flickered with a sharp, piercing light. Your son already gave me that same speech. No matter what you say, not a single cent of those 50 million is negotiable. Chu Yang completely ignored Yang Yunhai's threats. You may deceive my emotions, you may even deceive my body, but you absolutely cannot cheat me out of my money. President Yang, a bet is a bet. 5 million is nothing to you, isn't it? Chinemo said slowly. Fine. I never imagined today's youth would show so little respect for their elders. This has been truly eye-opening. Yang Yunhai let out a cold laugh as he spoke. I'll naturally respect you if you pay up, Mr. Yang. I don't respect elders who enjoy defaulting on debts. No matter what, Chu Yang stubbornly held on to demanding the money. This left Yang Yunhai feeling utterly humiliated. After all his years dominating the business world, he'd never encountered such a tenacious young man. It's just 50 million, a trifling amount. Yang Yunhai took out a check and swiftly wrote a few strokes. Then he tore it off and casually tossed it aside. The check fell to the ground just like that. Take it. Can I leave with my son now? Yang Yunhai asked coldly. With that, he prepared to leave with Yang Meng. Hold on. Chu Yang suddenly called out to stop him. What more do you want? Yang Yunhai asked with a gloomy face. Pick up the check and place it in my hand. Chu Yang pointed at the check on the ground and said indifferently, Are you daydreaming? Take it or leave it. Yang Yunhai sneered contemptuously. Fine. Tomorrow I'll post big character posters outside your company, exposing you as a debt dodger. A mocking smile appeared on Chu Yang's face. You! Yang Yunhai trembled with rage, rendered utterly speechless. No matter how domineering he usually was, he felt thoroughly oppressed by Chu Yang's reckless and unconstrained behavior. Helplessly, he had no choice but to pick up the check and place it in Chu Yang's hand. Thank you for the generous gift, President Yang, Chu Yang said with a bright smile. His smile, as seen through Yang Yunhai's eyes, couldn't have been more obnoxious if he tried. It made Yang Yunhai itch to plant a fist in his face. But Yang Yunhai wasn't some hot-blooded youth after all, so he restrained himself. Chu Yang, you're quite something. I'll make sure to play with you properly from now on, Yang Yunhai said with a mocking sneer. President Yang, it'd be my honor to have you play along. Chu Yang replied indifferently. Having lived 2 lives, there was no need for him to fear a dying man. I hope you can endure my game. It would be terribly dull if you died too quickly. Yang Yunhai remarked coolly. I also hope Mr. Yang won't disappoint me. Chu Yang spoke without the slightest courtesy. Yang Yunhai let out a cold laugh and left with Yang Meng in tow. Before departing, Yang Meng shot Chu Yang a look brimming with venomous hatred. Chu Yang, just you wait. This isn't over between us. Chu Yang gave him a disdainful glance. I wasn't even afraid of your father. Why would I fear a worthless piece of trash like you? After Yang Yunhai left, the atmosphere finally relaxed. Mr. Chu, I'll offer 40 million for this jade. Would you sell it to me? I bid 45 million. I bid 50 million. Such an exquisite emerald could serve as the crown jewel of any store, even if never sold. It would undoubtedly generate tremendous advertising impact. These jade merchants are all people who don't lack money. Finally, Chu Yang sold it to an overweight jade merchant for 60 million. The other party was also very straightforward, directly making the payment by card transfer. Chu Yang looked at the additional 60 million in his account and couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Gambling on raw jade stones was indeed thrilling. All his previous funds had already been poured into the stock and futures markets. His bank account had long been empty, but now 60 million appeared in an instant. Plus the 50 million yuan Yang Yunhai just gave. Now the bank account is about to have another 100 million. How should this 100 million be spent? What headache? Having too much money is also a kind of trouble. Chu Yang felt utterly helpless. Chu Yang, I never expected you to be so skilled at betting on uncut jade, Qin Imo said with a beaming smile. He was growing increasingly admiring of Chu Yang. This young man's ability to make money was downright terrifying. Last time at the antique auction, He turned over 2 million into more than 40 million. This time it was even more outrageous. With 3,000 yuan, he made 110 million. Even robbing a bank wouldn't be as fast as him. Senior Qin flatters me too much. I just got lucky, Chu Yang said with a smile. Young man, not arrogant nor impatient, very good. There's a business gathering at 8 p.m. 3 days from now. Would you be interested in attending? Qin Imo asked slowly. Of course, I greatly appreciate it, Elder Qin. Chu Yang immediately agreed. Chapter 23. Yuan eyes open wider than ever. The astonishing sight of 110 million in savings leaves Li Chunjiang speechless. Chapter 23. A deposit of 110 million. Li Chunjiang is shocked. Chu Yang agreed without hesitation because he fully understood the significance of this gathering. To put it bluntly, this kind of gathering is just for networking. The attendees this time will undoubtedly carry far greater weight than those at the last antique auction. It seems I've already won Qin Mo's admiration. He was preparing to introduce me to the upper echelons of Tiannan's high society. A faint smile appeared on Chu Yang's face. Coincidentally, the oil market was about to take off in just 3 days. After trading oil, he would soon have over 4 billion yuan in funds. Note, these are liquid funds, not net worth. Many wealthy individuals claim to have billions in net worth. In reality, most of it is just the estimated value of fixed assets. The liquid cash they actually have on hand seldom exceeds tens of millions at best. If Chu Yang had over 4 billion in funds, he would undoubtedly rank among China's top 10 wealthiest individuals. Even provincial tycoon Shen Qingzong would pale in comparison before him. After leaving the gambling stone market, Chu Yang then went to the bank, cashed the check for 50 million, and deposited the amount into his bank card. This money had to be withdrawn quickly. Delays could bring trouble. Money only truly counts when it's safely in your own pocket. As soon as the 50 million hit his account, the balance in Chu Yang's card instantly jumped to 110 million. A smug expression spread across Chu Yang's face. A man desires to conquer the world first, then a woman. To conquer these two things, only one thing is needed: money. What is a man's greatest achievement? Just watching my bank balance grow every day. Such a pace of earning was something Chu Yang in his previous life wouldn't have even dared to dream of. The instant Chu Yang's money hit his account, an exclamation rang out within the China Construction Bank. This exclamation came from Huang Yunliang, Li Chunjiang's assistant. Everybody looked at Huang Yunliang with utter bewilderment. His face wore an expression of sheer astonishment. It was as if he had just witnessed something utterly extraordinary. What's wrong with Assistant Huang? What happened? He's usually such a composed person. Why would he lose his composure like this today? Yes, it's really quite strange. Huang Yunyang ignored everyone's curious stares and quickly stood up, heading straight toward Li Chunjiang's office. Director Li, something terrible has happened, Huang Yunyang blurted out as soon as he knocked open the door. Li Chunjiang felt somewhat displeased seeing Huang Yunliang acting so rashly. Yunliang, you're usually quite composed. What's happened today? Li Chunjiang asked unhappily. With that, he picked up the water cup and started sipping tea. Bank manager Li, Mr. Chu's account suddenly received an additional deposit of 110 million yuan just now. Huang Yunliang swallowed hard as he spoke. Puffed. Upon hearing this, Li Chunjiang spat out his tea in shock. He sprayed Huang Yunliang straight into a drenched mess. Even Huang's face was covered with tea leaves. How much did you say? Li Chunjiang asked in utter astonishment. 110 million. Huang Yunliang repeated the figure. Oh my God, what kind of money God have I brought to our bank? Li Chunjiang nearly choked on his own spit. 110 million was not much. At China Construction Bank, there were plenty with deposits far exceeding 110 million. But you must understand, Chu Yang's bank card had been emptied just days ago from futures and stock investments. There wasn't a single cent left in the card. Who could have guessed that within mere days, he'd earned over 100 million again? At this rate of making money, it's practically faster than robbing banks. President, with this much deposit, we've already met tomorrow's target, Huang Yunliang said with a gulp. Exactly. Tell everyone that this month's funds will double. Li Chunjiang burst into laughter. His performance has now become exceptionally outstanding. Who knows, he might even have the chance to become a deputy president or even the president at the head office in the future. No matter what, as long as I cling tightly to Chu Yang's golden thigh, I'm bound to soar to great heights. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yang Yinhai sat on the chair with a dark expression plastered across his face. As for Yang Meng, he knelt trembling on the floor. Both sides of his face had swollen to equal heights. Clearly, after returning home, he'd received yet another slap. You damned fool, all you know how to do is stir up trouble every day. I could overlook it before, but this time you actually cost me 50 million, Yang Yinhai said angrily. Although his net worth was reputed to be $1 billion, he didn't have much liquid cash on hand. 5 million may not have severely harmed him, but it was still no small sum. Dad, I never expected that useless loser to have such incredible luck, Yang Meng said indignantly. He still believed that Chu Yang's victory today was purely due to overwhelming luck. He already took 50 million from me, and you still call him a loser? Then wouldn't you be even worse than a loser? Yang Yinhai snorted coldly. Dad, we can't just let this slide, Yang Meng said through gritted teeth. He had never suffered such a great loss in all his life. What made it worse was that the loss was dealt by Chu Yang, someone he had always looked down upon. It made his heart feel as if countless ants were gnawing at it. My money isn't so easy to take. That brat, I won't let him off lightly. Yang Yinhai snorted coldly and said, Dad, how do you plan to deal with him? Yang Meng asked in confusion. At the gathering 3 days later, Qin and Mo will definitely bring him along. That's when I'll make sure he suffers a crushing defeat. Yang Yunhai's eyes were filled with sharp intensity. Dad, are you saying we should compete with him in stock trading? Yang Meng quickly grasped the implication. That's right. The reason I got to where I am today is precisely because I know how to make money in the stock market. A look of absolute confidence appeared on Yang Yunhai's face. Like Lin Dongheng, he also made his fortune from the stock market. However, Lin Dongheng's stock trading skills were completely insignificant in comparison to his own. Yang Yinhai was quite a renowned stock god in Tian'an. In the stock market, defeats were almost unheard of. This was precisely why Yang Yinhai felt so confident. Chu Yang had no idea that Yang Yinhai wanted to defeat him in stocks. If he had known, he would have told the other party straight. You're courting death, but not like this. Trying to outtrade me, a cheat with foresight of the markets. Isn't this like the god of longevity hanging himself, asking for an early death? Over the next 3 days, Chu Yang didn't go anywhere. He just stayed with Shun Mengqing in the VIP lounge of the stock exchange. During these 3 days, as Chu Yang and Shun Mengqing spent every moment together, a special emotion began to spread through both their hearts. The interactions between the two had grown increasingly ambiguous. At this point, only a thin layer of paper stood between them. Over these 3 days, the stocks they bought indeed hit their daily limit up consecutively. Shun Mengqing truly made a small fortune this time. As for Chu Yang's initial 2 million plus, it had grown to over 3 million. But to Chu Yang, this amount was mere pocket change. His real focus remained on the oil markets. Chapter 24, Earning Over 4 Billion. Chapter 24, Earning Over 4 Billion. Oil prices have been falling these days. They've dropped from the initial 5 yuan to 3 yuan. The balance in Chu Yang's futures account has already lost over 100 million. Shun Mengqing sees it with her own eyes and grows anxious in her heart. You must understand, Chu Yang had leveraged his position 20 times over. If the position gets liquidated, the consequences would be truly unthinkable. He might never recover from it in this lifetime. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Today just happened to be the day of the oil market movement. As soon as futures trading opened, the price of oil had already dropped below $3. Shun Mengqing could no longer sit still at this moment. If it continued to fall like this, Chu Yang would surely face a margin call. Chu Yang, stop now. If it keeps falling, it's truly over, Shun Mengqing said with a solemn expression. Don't worry, oil prices will rise today, Chu Yang said with a smile. How do you know prices will rise today? Shen Mengqing asked doubtfully. Because war is coming. Chu Yang pointed to the newspaper on the table and said. After all, he couldn't just say he had a divine eye for foresight. Shen Mengqing picked up the newspaper to take a look. It read that Eagle Country and Iraq were in tense relations, considering an airstrike against the latter. You actually believe what's written in the papers? Besides, they're just considering it, not actually doing it. Shen Mengqing said helplessly. It won't be long now. You'll see soon enough. Chu Yang didn't offer further explanations. This was something he remembered very clearly. In just half an hour, Britain would launch an airstrike against Iraq. As luck would have it, a bomb landed right on the largest oil field in the country. The resulting explosion at the oil field caused oil prices to skyrocket. Within a single day, they surged to over $30. It was precisely the final price displayed within the heavenly eye. Will there really be a war? Shen Mengqing still felt somewhat unconvinced. Don't worry, my intuition has never been wrong. Chu Yang said with full confidence. Relying on intuition is usually an unreliable thing. But Chu Yang's intuition truly has never failed. So Shen Mengqing's heart immediately placed more trust in Chu Yang. Half an hour passed. Chu Yang said, "Turn on the TV." Shen Mengqing promptly turned on the television. The news broadcast above unmistakably reported that Eagle Nation had launched an airstrike on Iraqi, with one bomb destroying Iraqi's oil fields. Upon the release of this news, the international oil market underwent sudden and dramatic changes. The previously declining oil prices suddenly skyrocketed as if injected with stimulants. Starting from a price of 3 yuan, it began to skyrocket. Yuan, yuan, yuan. Just an hour later, it had already surged to 30 yuan. Countless people saw the oil price skyrocketing. They began desperately buying, scrambling to get in and grab a piece of the pie. In Chu Yang's previously depleted account, the sum of 680 million instantly transformed into 4.008 billion, a direct six-fold increase. Shen Mengqing was completely dumbfounded. For billion, that's 4 billion. Even her father, who was reputed to be the richest man in the province, didn't have that much money. Chu Yang had earned such an enormous fortune in just 1 hour. This is simply too terrifying. All right, now quickly sell it off. The price has peaked. Chu Yang nudged Shen Mengqing as he spoke. Only then did Shen Mengqing snap out of her dazed state. She immediately sold off all the oil holdings in her hands. By now, many people were buying, so the order was snapped up instantly. 4.08 billion lay quietly in Chu Yang's account. Chu Yang, why sell now when the price is still rising? A look of profound regret appeared on Shen Mengqing's face. It won't rise anymore. This price has already peaked and will soon fall back. Selling now is the only way to maximize profits. Chu Yang said slowly. Just as Shen Mengqing was about to ask for clarification, the television broadcasted another piece of news again. In light of the current oil crisis, to stabilize oil prices, Middle Eastern countries have begun releasing their oil reserves to steady the petroleum market. As soon as this news broke, just as expected, the price of oil plunged instantly. Block, block, block. In the end, it plummeted straight down to 5 yuan, the exact price Chu Yang had entered the market at. The once frenzied futures market abruptly turned into a sea of whales. Those who bought at the peak were left with nothing, not even the shirts on their backs. Shen Mengqing looked at Chu Yang with an expression as if she'd seen a ghost. One could say Chu Yang's every step was executed with pinpoint accuracy, as if he possessed clairvoyance. It was truly unbelievable. Why are you looking at me like that? Chu Yang asked helplessly. How did you know oil prices would drop? Shen Mengqing inquired with intense curiosity. Instinct, just a man's intuition. Chu Yang said in an extremely mysterious tone. Shen Mengqing secretly sighed. This guy's intuition is sharper than a woman's. Should this money be transferred to a bank account? Shen Mengqing asked. Of course, let's transfer the money from the stocks as well. Chu Yang nodded and said. The stock he bought had reached its peak. Shen Mengqing naturally had no objections and immediately proceeded with the operation. Not long after, All the money was transferred back to Chu Yang's bank account. Ding! Chu Yang's phone rang almost immediately. It was a text message from a bank. Transfer received, 408,340,000 yuan. Available balance, 418,350,000 yuan. China Construction Bank. As soon as the funds landed in his account, the construction bank was thrown into chaos once again. The 110 million yesterday was already staggering enough. Today, over 4 billion was directly deposited. This practically defied all reason. Over 4 billion in deposits. He directly achieved his savings target for the next decade. Li Chunjiang even received a phone call from the headquarters leadership, filled with words of praise. This immediately made him float on air. Chu Yang's phone soon rang. He took it out and saw that it was Li Chunjiang calling. "Mr. Chu, did you suddenly come into so much money from oil futures?" Li Chunjiang asked. "That's right." Chu Yang didn't deny it either. Li Chunjiang thought to himself, "I knew it. Holding onto this golden thigh was definitely the right move. Making 4 billion in a single day isn't something just anyone can achieve." Chu Yang looked at his phone screen with a triumphant expression. With so much money at his disposal, he could finally pursue many ambitious ventures. Real estate, the internet industry, the world was now his oyster. These can all be started to be laid out now. How about real estate first? In the next 20 years, real estate will directly influence the nation's economy. Countless real estate tycoons made fortunes beyond measure. It's often said that when the wind rises, even pigs can fly. Chu Yang had no intention of being less competent than a pig. "Chu Yang, now that you're a billionaire, aren't you going to treat us?" Shen Mengqing asked with a radiant smile. Chapter 25. The Mermaid's Tears. Chapter 25. The Mermaid's Tears. Just as Chu Yang was about to speak, his phone rang. The call was from Qin Mo. "Mr. Qin, long time no see." Chu Yang answered the phone with a smile. He already knew why Qin Mo was calling. "Chu Yang, tonight's gathering is at Yunhu Villa. Don't forget to come, and by the way, you can bring a female companion," Qin Mo said slowly. "Don't worry, I'll definitely be there on time." Chu Yang immediately responded. After hanging up the phone, Chu Yang smiled and said to Shen Mengqing, "There happens to be a gathering at Yunhu Villa tonight. Let's go together." "Is it the gathering old Qin mentioned the other day? I didn't expect it to be at Yunhu Villa," Shen Mengqing also asked with some surprise. Yunhu Villa is located on Yunhu Lake, situated in the suburbs of Tianjin City. This villa derives its name from this feature. Yunhu Villa is the most upscale club in the entire Tianjin region. Almost all business gatherings are held here. Moreover, Yunhu Villa operates on a membership system. Without a membership, you can't get in no matter how rich you are. "Yes, I never thought I'd actually get a chance to enter this place," Chu Yang said with some emotion. Even after more than 20 years had passed, Yunhu Villa remains the most luxurious private club in Tianjin City. In his previous life, every time he passed by Yunhu Villa, he would watch the wealthy patrons coming and going in their luxury cars, impeccably dressed, and feel nothing but envy. It's a pity that back then he was so impoverished that he had no chance to reach that level at all. Only after being reborn this time did he get the opportunity to defy fate and change his destiny. "Then let's go buy a set of clothes," Shen Mengqing said slowly. "Buying clothes? Is it really necessary?" Chu Yang asked in astonishment. "Of course, this is a high-end gathering. If you dress too casually, people will look down on you." As the daughter of the wealthiest man, Shen Mengqing was no stranger to gatherings like these. "All right, I'll listen to you." Chu Yang nodded and said. The two left the private room and went to a nearby shopping mall. They arrived at a luxury brand boutique. Here you'll find not only men's and women's clothing, but also a dazzling array of luxurious jewelry. Moreover, every single garment here carries an exceptionally hefty price tag. Even the cheapest item costs over 3,000 yuan. Bear in mind, this is 2002. The standard of living was far below what it would be 20 years later. The salaries of many ordinary people probably hover around 1,000 yuan. It can be said that this shop is definitely not affordable for ordinary people. "How about I give you a piece of jewelry?" Chu Yang said slowly. "I'll pass. I have my own jewelry. Shen Mengqing shook her head and said, as the daughter of the wealthiest man, she naturally had no shortage of jewelry. I made 4 billion just today. At least give me a chance to show off, won't you? Chu Yang said with a smile. Then what kind of jewelry do you want to give me? Shen Mengqing inquired curiously. With a light chuckle, Chu Yang walked up to the counter and declared, bring out the most expensive jewelry you have here. The teller's eyes immediately lit up upon hearing this. It looks like a big client has arrived. She promptly pulled out a necklace. This necklace appeared exceptionally well designed. The chain of the necklace was adorned with a circle of tiny diamonds. Under the light, it was dazzling beyond compare. At its center hung a blue diamond the size of an eye. The shape of this blue diamond resembled a teardrop. Crystal clear, it captures the gaze at first sight. Sir, this necklace is called Mermaid's Tears, and legend says there's a poignant tale behind it. The clerk said with a smile. Cut the chatter. Just tell me how much it costs. Chu Yang cut him off. What load of crap this love story is. Isn't it all just fabricated by merchants? Price 10,000. The teller promptly replied. Chu Yang, this is too valuable. Let's just forget about it. Shen Mengqing's expression changed immediately as she spoke. Why forget about it? 1 million is like pocket change to me. Chu Yang replied nonchalantly. Young man, quite the big talker. Be careful not to burst your own bubble. Chu Yang and Shen Mengqing couldn't help but frown as they looked up toward the voice. They saw a middle-aged man in his 50s staring at them with a mocking expression. The man had a balding head and was sporting a noticeably large beer belly. He looked as greasy as could be. By his side, a woman in her 20s clung to his arm. This woman had a graceful figure and quite a pretty face. However, her heavy makeup gave her a somewhat tawdry air. Young man, aren't you blowing your own trumpet a bit too loudly? Do you think you're the stock god or something? The middle-aged man scoffed coldly. If you want to call me the stock god, I can live up to that title. Chu Yang replied nonchalantly. His words were far from exaggerated. With his foresight at hand, when it came to stock trading, he truly had no equal. Miss, seems like your boyfriend here isn't reliable. I'm Yuan Daji, chairman of Yunyang Group. How about we become friends instead? Yuan Daji looked at Shen Mengqing with an odd expression on his face. It was as if he couldn't wait to devour Shen Mengqing whole. He had noticed Shen Mengqing the moment he entered. Standing there, Shen Mengqing exuded an incomparably noble aura. Whether in temperament or appearance, he completely outshone the woman by his side. Hearing this, the woman beside him first changed expression, but she quickly regained her composure. She knew staying by Yuan Daji's side was nothing more than a transaction. As long as she could get the money, she didn't care how many women the other party had. However, she kept staring at Shen Mengqing, finding her oddly familiar. Yunyang Group? I heard they're one of Shen Group's partners. Shen Mengqing said slowly. That's right, I'm actually quite familiar with the Shen family's business tycoon. Yuan Daji's eyes instantly lit up as he immediately spoke. Chu Yang couldn't help but laugh upon hearing this. Well now, isn't this like walking straight into our sights? You're Shen Mengqing? The woman beside Yuan Daji suddenly exclaimed in surprise. You are Sun Lily. Shen Mengqing also recognized the other woman. Sweetie, do you know her? Yuan Daji immediately asked. She was my college classmate. Back in school, she acted like some untouchable ice queen every day. So disgusting. Zhang Lily snorted coldly as she spoke. Back when they were still in school, she was always overshadowed by Shen Mengqing, which made her jealous. Shen Mengqing was far too low-key during her school days, so no one knew she was the daughter of the richest man. However disgusting I may be, it's nothing compared to you being an escort while pretending to be a student. Shen Mengqing said with utter contempt. What nonsense are you spouting? Zhang Lily's face instantly turned ashen. Whether I'm spouting nonsense or not, you know the answer in your heart. Fine words indeed, Shen Mengqing sneered in reply. Darling, she's framing me. Zhang Lily shook Yuan Daji's arm and coquettishly pleaded. Miss, you can eat random food, but you shouldn't spout random nonsense, unless you want me to sue you for slander. Yuan Daji said with a darkened expression. Chu Yang, let's ignore them and go buy clothes first. We'll be late for the gathering. Shin Mengqing refused to engage with these two people.